7 o'clock. Good afternoon, everyone. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local and all streaming platforms as we take a look at, let's just call them glamour shots. They're basically shots to remind us that now with daylight savings, with 70+ degrees outside, that Wilmington in the top left looks beautiful. South Philly, top right, out by the stadiums, a little darker and yet still nice. Bottom left, Independence Mall right up the street from us. Again, people were out walking around, enjoying themselves throughout the day today. And moving on out to the suburbs, King of Prussia also looks amazing with a nice little sunset going on out there. It's beautiful, and that is a perfect way for us to start this evening. I'm Bill Anderson, and again, this is Philadelphia Live on Fox Local, all streaming platforms. The team is here together. We are live on Fox Local. Jake, are we also up again on social media?
Yes, I'm getting us on TikTok right now.
Jake is logging us in. Jake is over here, over my shoulder, so you hear me talking to him. Don't necessarily see him, but trust me, he's there, along with Chris and Steve, the team pulling everything together. Okay, so we've got a lot that we're going to get into today as we push through the discussion. A lot going on. Obviously, that beautiful weather that we were just looking at, we're going to talk about momentarily, as our Kathy Orr will be bringing us a breakdown on everything that's going on with the weather. Excuse me. Sports fans, NFL fans, and specifically, I was going to say Eagles fans, but World Baseball Classic. They are there doing a little batting practice, the team getting ready to play a little bit later on. It's the United States and Mexico tonight, right? They are playing this evening, and I was listening to Jason and Scott Grayson talking on the Fantastic Sports Show about that lineup. Can you listen to that lineup? You got Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, Kyle Schwarber, all batting in line. Like, that's amazing for anybody to have to go out there and face, assuming that they are hitting well. It should be fun. So make sure you're watching that. So that's World Baseball Classic. That's what's going on right now as they are getting ready for that. And we will check in on that throughout the evening. That's good news, right? Eagles? Not so much as we take a look at the link right now. So a little bit earlier, to start the day in NFL free agency, we became aware almost immediately that the Eagles were outbid for lineman or edge rusher Jalen Phillips. He got a 4-year, $120 million deal to leave the Eagles and go to the Panthers. Okay, that one hurt. Not something that necessarily Eagles fans wanted to see, but that's a whole lot of money. And it was tough to argue that the Eagles should have matched that deal. Then we find out over the last half an hour to an hour that two other Eagles that we were hoping may have the opportunity to return. One, not a surprise that he's leaving. One, a little bit more of a surprise that both Nakobe Dean and Reed Blankenship have apparently accepted deals elsewhere to leave the Eagles. So we shall see. We will break that down momentarily. Scott Grayson is going to come up after they continue wrapping things up with Fantastic Sports Show and share that information with us. So we've got that. We've got a lot that we're going to get to. There's a couple live hearings that are taking place. The president gave an update on what's going on in Iran. So there's a lot to get to. You've got 3 hours to do it, but it's going to be jam-packed with information. So let's get started. We showed you that beautiful glamour shot. We showed you everything that's going on with cameras all throughout the area. We show you this wonderful sunset, 70+ degrees. And let's get things started with Kathy Orr. It's a perfect lead-in. It's a beautiful evening, Kathy, and you get to take the credit for it because you told us about it first.
Thanks, Bill. Finally credit for something good, right? I mean, we've been talking about the temperatures warming for about a week. We've been talking about the skies clearing. Today is our second 70-degree day so far this year. Typically, we see this happen around March 12th. That's the average date, sometimes a lot earlier, sometimes a lot later, but all in all, I think it's sweeter because of how cold it has been. So let's take you outside and show you what's going on here. I mean, temperatures are just very, very comfortable. You can see Philadelphia 70 degrees right now. I mean, you can't beat that at all. I mean, high temperatures today in the mid 70s. It was 25 degrees above normal today in Philadelphia. So you have to love that. Let's take a look at the high temperatures as well around the region, because the highs were impressive everywhere. The normal high being 50. Philadelphia, I mentioned, 25 degrees above average, so 75 in Philly, Wilmington, Reading, Atlantic City at 74. That's at the airport, that's inland. At the shore, it was only about 65, still not bad. Trenton 72, Allentown 72. And as we look at our temperatures as we go through the next several hours, you can see already falling back in the 60s in Doylestown and Allentown, even in Reading, and down the shore as well, some cooler temperatures. Suburbs, you know, the sun gets dark, a little bit lower in the sky, sunset is upon us, and the temperatures start to fall. 67 in Media, 68 in Swedesboro. You can see 65 in Middletown, Delaware. So 60s this evening, and then overnight we fall into the 40s. But we should be around freezing overnight, but we'll be in the 40s. And just to bring you back to a couple weeks ago, normal high temperatures were in the 40s. So this would have been great for even a daytime high, not an overnight low. So it just shows how far we've come. A huge ridge is building in the east. That's when the jet stream kind of buckles up and you see the jet stream kind of dip down with those blue and purple contours. That's the cold air through the northern plains, through Minnesota, the Great Lakes. We get a surge of warmth from the south when you see those yellows, those oranges and reds, those warmer temperatures and contours that we usually see associated with the spring and the summer. That's what's coming our way. And Wednesday is the day we will challenge record warmth. So that's exciting. Tomorrow we start in the 40s, we end up in the 70s. We're talking about temperatures jumping about 35 to 40 degrees over the course of a day. That doesn't happen a lot around here. And Bill, you and I talked about this on Behind the News at 4 o'clock. It's a really big deal. Yes, the days are longer. The sun angle is more direct as you get closer to spring. Spring's only 11 days away. But this is an impressive rise in temperature. In some areas, we'll make it to 80 degrees. So that's impressive as well. And then we make it to Wednesday, where a few more clouds will move in. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s, but that is the record-breaking day. We do anticipate we'll get into the upper 70s for high temperatures, and the record in Philadelphia is 74 degrees set back in 2021, and we're expecting to break that. So a lot of things coming this week before it gets dramatically cooler by next week. And we'll talk about that, I'm sure, next time we chat.
I'm laughing, Kathy, because I'm in the chat on TikTok. We're streaming live on TikTok as well as on Fox Local and other streaming platforms. One person was commenting that Florida is 77 or 78 degrees, so they're right in line with what we have. Somebody else commented that you have chiseled arms.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Fit Kathy Orr has been spending time in the gym as well as getting us caught up with everything that's taking place.
What else are you doing all winter, right?
No, right? And we've got beautiful weather now. That's what we're supposed to be doing. You should jump in and say hi to the people.
Hi, people.
Who are on TikTok.
Yeah,
But,
I will.
okay.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Kathy.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you
They're not
very
going to
much.
like me by next Tuesday, but.
When the snow comes back? All right, that's all right. They're all over the globe, so we'll handle it.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Kathy. Kathy Orr breaking it down for us. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing because I'm sitting here reading it. I have this all here in front of me, the comments that people are making on TikTok or the Fox 29 page. I'm at Bill A. Fox 29. All right, so some of the other comments that people were making falls right in line with where we want to go next. So throughout the day, we've seen things. NFL free agency opened. It's a day that started with hope for a lot of teams, and with the Eagles, there was some optimism. Scott Grayson. Okay, so we knew we lost Jalen Phillips, but we justified that with that was a whole bunch of money. You're spending $30 million a season. That's a lot. Okay, Howie, do your thing. Then we lose Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean, we kind of expected to lose, right? Like we hoped, but you kind of expected to lose him. And then just momentarily, like not that long ago when you guys were wrapping up the Fantastic Sports Show, we also lose Reed Blankenship.
Yeah, Bill, we talked 3 hours ago, and a lot has happened since then. Less than 3 hours ago. You're right. Nakobe Dean going to the Raiders. There's several things to unpack there. You're right. I don't think we were really that surprised that the Eagles did not keep him. They are pretty deep at linebacker. Reed Blankenship, as you mentioned, not that long ago, just agreeing to a 3-year deal, $24 million reportedly with the Houston Texans. Now, I think both those guys were two players that a lot of people around here were saying, well, if they're not going to be back here, they were afraid they'd go to the Dallas Cowboys. Neither one of them did. So at least there's that. But yeah, those two guys are gone now, along with Jalen Phillips. Jahan Dotson also, he's going to the Atlanta Falcons. So right now, so far, a lot of subtractions. Howie Roseman has been very quiet at this point so far today. So really not much in the way of additions yet.
Why do you think that is? I mean, initially, Jalen Phillips, you're holding on to money and you're letting Howie work his magic. Nakobe Dean, as you pointed out, you already have his replacement on the roster. So you would have liked him to stay, but it was kind of expected. The Reed Blankenship number doesn't seem that overwhelming. It seems like they could have matched that.
Yeah, that's the one out of all of them today that I'm most surprised by. I really think 3 years, $24 million for the value that Reed Blankenship gives you, a veteran safety next to the guy who's coming back now in his second year, Andrew Makuba. I think that you pay $24 million for. So I am a little puzzled by not keeping Reed Blankenship. I think at that price you could have made that happen. But as to your question about why maybe Howie's been quiet today, I'm still sticking to what I've been believing all day. I think they're trying to get an extension done for Jalen Carter. And until they get that done, Howie doesn't know exactly what number he has under the salary cap to be able to play with today or in this free agency window. So I think that they're trying to get that done first. And once that piece of the puzzle gets put in place, then you'll see Howie go out and do some more things in free agency, perhaps. But they were awarded some compensatory picks today. The Eagles now have 9 draft picks in this draft. And we all know how Howie likes to bunch those together and try to make things happen too. So, look, he's got a lot of resources. He's got a lot of ammo at his disposal, and they will have some money they can be able to spend. But I also said this to Jason on the Fantastic Sports Show, Bill, and that's that the teams that are really doing a lot of things today, the Falcons, right, the Raiders, the Panthers, the Buccaneers, these are teams that you wouldn't say are at the upper echelon, the higher tier of NFL teams right now, not like the playoff teams that have been there like the Eagles, the Patriots. The Chiefs did do some things today, but they've been one of the better teams that have actually done stuff. A lot of the quiet teams today are the ones that have had success. They don't need to go out and overpay, because I do think a lot of the guys that have signed today, all the teams, in my opinion, outside of maybe the Reed Blankenship one, have been overpaying for these players.
All right, Scott, I'm going to trust your patience, and we'll go ahead and work it out, because these are now spots you also have to fill, so you're going to have to pay somebody.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. Scott Grayson.
I did want to mention one more thing to you real quick, Bill, because I think it's important to get this in, that Jesus Luzardo of the Phillies, they agreed to a 5-year, $135 million extension. So the Phillies, a team signing somebody today, extending him. That's a big extension for the Phillies to have in their starting lineup, starting rotation. So I think it's important to point that out while we're talking about all this money that neither you or I have.
Not close to. And also, good news, Tyrese Maxey isn't playing, but the tests were not bad.
No, his finger not broken, according to head coach Nick Nurse. Out tonight. Will probably miss some more games, a few. But they're banged up. They need to get those starters back. VJ Edgecombe out tonight as well. Joel Embiid out. Paul George still serving his suspension. So tune in to see a bunch of other guys play tonight.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe them. All right, Scott, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, you got it, Bill.
And we will hear more from Scott Sports a little bit later on. All right, guys, we're going to take our first break. There's a lot going on throughout the area. As I said, an update on what's going on in Iran. There is a hearing that's taking place right now about development in our area. There's a lot going on, so stay put. It's Philadelphia Live on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. Stay tuned. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. Shout out to all of the social media. The chats are open. If you have questions or comments, we are watching, so we would be happy to try and get you some answers. Taking a look at a beautiful Philadelphia skyline, backlit with the sunset going on, 70 some odd degrees. We will take it. Getting right back into the discussion at hand. So there's a meeting taking place right now, a development plan that is going on. That has changed dramatically. It has led to community discussion. There's input going on right now. And our Jill Croce is there to kind of get us up to speed with everything that's taken place. And we're also going to listen to that public comment. Good evening, Jill.
Good evening to you. I stepped outside just so it's a little more quiet, but we're at Penn State Great Valley. And the East Whiteland Township Planning Commission, they had a special meeting today, kicked off at 6, still going on, like I said. And it's all to talk about a data center. Now, a prior plan was approved back in 2024, so it's not a matter of can they approve a plan? They already have. But now there's modifications that the applicants actually want to go through with. So they're not seeking approval of its use. They're now seeking some ordinance compliant modifications. And this is Sentinel Data Centers, and they're working with Green Fig Land LLC on the project. Now, where this would be at 13 South Backton Hill Road. That's also Swedesford Road. And now here's some of what they are proposing now, some of these amendments. The total building square footage was roughly about 1 million square feet. They're now looking for 1.6 million. No antennas, no microwave towers like they last proposed. Office uses and loading facilities would face Swedesford Road. Those opposing I spoke with are worried about their property value, and there's a lot of signs up in the community talking about this meeting and how they wanted people to come out. And then public comment just started, and so we'll see how this goes. They're supposed to make a vote today. There was mention on a slide, like, vote yes for this. So there should be a decision today. Just not sure when that will be, maybe after public comment. But if you're affected by this as well, if you're in this greater community, there is a live stream. And Bill, I know you said you guys were going to go to that live stream for public comment. But we'll have a full report coming up after the game tonight.
So Jill, is this something that is hotly contested? Were people mostly on board with this? I mean, we're about to listen to what they have to say, but that development changed dramatically.
Yeah, and it did change dramatically. And honestly, anybody we've spoke with, anybody that I've at least heard in the audience or reaction to what people are saying, a lot of people seem opposed, which I mean, they're worried about their property values. They're worried about their energy costs with something like a data center. And I know instead they're looking to use like water cooling or air cooling instead of water cooling. So that could help for not as much water to be used at the data center. So I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of people oppose. I even saw some people leave early, so I'm not sure if things aren't going well in there. But we'll just see how it goes, Bill. But yeah, a lot of people are opposed to this from what I've seen.
All right, we're going to listen in just a little bit, and Jill, we'll check in with you a little bit later on the news to get your take on all of this as well. Thank you. We appreciate it. So as I pointed out, this hearing is taking place. It's a planning commission. It's this huge project that has grown over 600,000 square feet, and the community's got a lot to say. So let's listen in.
The equipment, and it starts to make a funny sound, they'll know it, and they'll fix it before it bothers anyone, and also before it ruins their data center. So I think that's a good thing too. Ongoing monitoring is one of the answers to how do we know this is going to be okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Everbach. Welcome. Okay, next person, please.
Good evening. My name is Chris Fontana. I live at the Wickfield community. I work in real estate technology, specializing in mortgages and home sales. And I'm here tonight because I believe this board deserves the full picture before making a decision that will affect the value of every home in this township. The developer has cited a George Mason University study to assure you that data centers don't hurt home values. I want to be fair, this was written by real researchers, but here's what they didn't tell you. The study's own author said, and I'm quoting directly, "Always be careful with what the data says and what it doesn't." This is quoted from the FXBG Advanced newspaper. He went on to explain that Northern Virginia is a different kind of residential market, one where decades of underbuilt housing and pent-up demand might mask effects that would otherwise be visible. In other words, the very conditions that made the market look fine are conditions that do not exist here. East Whiteland is not Northern Virginia. We do not have decades of suppressed housing supply propping up our prices. What you see in our home values is what you get, and that means we are far more exposed to the kind of impact that study was unable to detect, not because it doesn't exist, but because the market conditions there were hiding it. The researcher who wrote this study is telling you not to over-rely on it, and when you look more closely, it gets worse. The study looks at homes sold near data centers, but in the neighborhood most directly affecting the Great Oaks subdivision in Prince William County, sitting directly 600 feet adjacent to Amazon's facilities, journalists investigated and found that not one of the roughly 30 homes closest to the data centers had sold in the 3 years the study covered. Not one. This study literally cannot measure the impact on the homes most at risk because those homeowners aren't selling. That is not proof that their homes kept their value. That might be proof that they felt trapped. And what were they living with? Residents documented a constant, low-pitched industrial roar measured against the county's own noise ordinance, found to be in violation 60% of the time. Even after Amazon spent money on mitigation, independent testing found the noise still exceeded acceptable limits and at more than half the locations tested. That is not a hypothetical. That happened to real families in real homes. We are not talking about a large data center. We are talking about a facility the size of a small city's entire power grid, proposed for the backyard of a residential township. What I'm asking here tonight is not complicated. Before this board approves a project of this scale, the residents of East Whiteland deserve an independent answer to one simple question. What will this do to the value of our homes? Not a regional study from a different market, not a report commissioned for a policy paper, a licensed independent appraisal, a real noise study, answers that are specific to this community, these streets, and these families. That is not too much to ask. The Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code, the law that governs this commission and authority, exists for one purpose: to protect the health, safety, and general welfare of this community. East Whiteland's own ordinances echo those exact words. I'm not here tonight asking you to kill this project. I'm asking you to do your job as the law defines it. This proposal has changed substantially in size, footprint, power consumption, and risk to this community since it was first reviewed in zoning. It deserves to be treated as what it is, a new project, and reviewed from the beginning. Now I'm asking this commission to recommend denial of this amendment to the Board of Supervisors and to send it back to the Zoning Hearing Board for a full review. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir. I do have a question, though, actually related to your comments. This Planning Commission is a recommending body. We are not the board that's going to approve or deny that a data center gets built. I also would like to go back to my opening statements where I explained that this data center is coming. It's an approved data center. The question remains, which plan is going to be better for our community? That's where we're at. I understand you don't like the answer, but that's where we are realistically. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Tony Giannino, and I live along with my wife and 2 young children in Malvern Hunt. I'm here because I believe we all share a primary responsibility, ensuring that East Whiteland's growth is never subsidized by the financial security of its residents. We are being asked to review an amendment, but a 60% increase in size and mass is not a tweak, it's a transformation. This project has jumped from about 1 million square feet to over 1.6 million square feet. Most critically, the power demand has surged to 290 megawatts. To put that in human terms, There are approximately 210,000 households in all of Chester County. If approved, this single site would draw more power than every single home in our entire county combined. This is a massive industrial event sitting in the residential backyard of me and my family. Now, we may hear, just as you just mentioned, Ms. Abel, a suggestion that this amendment is denied. The developer will simply revert to the previously approved 2024 plan. But we need to be honest about the plan's viability. Their own leadership at our last meeting has already gone on the record calling that plan outdated. Reverting would mean excavating basements, a massive environmental liability on a Superfund cap that the EPA's record of decision specifically guards against. They know, and we know, that a water-cooled, basement-heavy design is a technological dinosaur that no modern AI investor wants. They aren't threatening us with a backup plan. They are trying to bluff this board into approving expansion that violates the current standards. Our concern is simple. Who pays for the massive grid upgrades this 290 megawatt draw requires? The landscape of Pennsylvania law has shifted dramatically to protect us. House Bill 1924, the Load Forecast Accountability Act, and Public Utility Commission Docket M 2025-305-4271, both of which I will provide to the board, now mandate a large load tariff. This ensures the developer, not the neighbors, pay for their own infrastructure. Furthermore, Governor Shapiro's grid standards established on February 4th, 2026, prior to the amendment of the January 28th meeting, are explicit. Developers must fully fund their own power upgrades without increasing energy cost to a single local family. My question to this board is this: has the developer provided a signed contribution and aid of construction agreement guaranteeing that 100% of these grid costs are paid up front? Without that guarantee, this board is being asked to co-sign a plan that could trigger a 20% spike in our neighbors' utility bills. We ask you to defer any recommendation until the developer proves full compliance with these state-level cost protections. This is not an amendment, it's a new project. Send it back to the zoning hearing board for a full public hearing, and let's protect East Whiteland Township.
Would the applicant like to respond?
I still have time. That was at about 30 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. So regarding the House Bill 1924, I'm submitting House Bill 1924 to Pennsylvania law now requires Public Utility Commission to audit the financial commitments of large load customers like this one. Has the developer submitted their financial proof to the public utility? I believe a gentleman earlier actually answered that question. If not, this board is jumping the gun on a project that the state hasn't been validated yet. In regards to Governor Shapiro's grid standards, I'm submitting the governor's 2026 budget proposal. Sorry, I was just trying to get through it.
Yeah.
All right, I have some things to submit, if that's okay.
Your time's up, sir. I'm sorry, and we would like to get some of the answers to
Certainly.
the...
May I submit some material to the board?
Absolutely.
Okay. Leave it here or walk up?
Or you can give it to Zach right there. Okay.
Thank you for the time.
Mr.
So we
Calder.
are listening in on a planning commission meeting in East Whiteland. There's a huge data center that is being constructed, but very clearly there's a lot of pushback from the community. There are a lot of questions. Part of that is it has evolved or expanded from approximately 1 million square feet to 1,600,000 square feet. Additional questions and concerns about what they're going to do with the water and the power grid and community input and involvement. So we're listening into that. We are going to take a quick break while they move on to the next speaker. We will come back and dip in. We also have comments coming from throughout the day. The president gave an update on what's going on with the war in Iran. What is the time frame for this? Several questions from the media and people who were there. So we've got all that and more. Just stay with us. It's Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local, and we're showing you this shot over the Ben Franklin Bridge, Philadelphia, New Jersey, mostly because we were sitting here in the control room trying to figure out what that circle over the city is. It's a beautiful shot of color, but that circle was reminding people of a movie or something taking place there. We were going to ask Kathy Orr, our meteorologist, to explain if that's some kind of cloud structure. I will ask all of you who may have that knowledge, and apparently people, at least in the TikTok Fox 29 Philadelphia chat, have a whole bunch of information. So maybe if you know, go ahead and shout us out. It's a beautiful shot. It just is an interesting one. And Steve, sitting here, that's one direction, and then when you switch to the other, you can barely see it, or you don't see it. That's the same basic shot. That's Camden, that's Ben Franklin Bridge, from one direction going into, or going back to Philadelphia, and then you switch back to the other camera and you've got that, that weird circle over the city, lit and what have you. All right, so a little bit earlier today, right as we were getting prepared to come on the air, President Trump had a press conference. It was billed as an update on what's going on in Iran, time frame, an opportunity for the media to ask questions, and several did. So let's listen in on that.
And I'd like to wish everyone a very good evening. And over the weekend, the United States military and the Israeli Defense Forces continued Operation Epic Fury very successfully. Over the past 9 days, we've carried out some of the most powerful and complex military strikes and maneuvers the world has ever seen. Now, you add that up to all of the other things, Midnight Hammer, getting rid of the nuclear threat from Iran, which was a big moment in history, in my opinion, and the great success we've had in Venezuela and all other places. Every place we've gone, we've had tremendous success. But while we're doing all of these things, we're achieving major strides toward completing our military objective. And some people could say they're pretty well complete. We've wiped every single force in Iran out very completely. Most of Iran's naval power has been sunk. It's on the bottom of the sea. It's almost 50 ships. I was just notified it's 51 ships. I didn't know they had that many. Didn't last very long. And these are fighting vessels. They're meant to fight, but they're not meant to fight against us. We continue to target Iran's drone and missile capabilities. Their drones are way down. Their drone manufacturing's been hit starting today. We know all of the places they manufacture the drones, and they're being hit one after another. Their missile capability is down to about 10%, maybe less. We're also hitting where they make missiles and where they deliver missiles. We've struck over 5,000 targets to date, some of them very major targets, and we've left some of the most important targets for later in case we need to do it. If we hit them, it's going to take many years for them to be rebuilt, having to do with electricity production and many other things. So we're not looking to do that if we don't have to. But they're the kind of things that are very easy to hit, but very devastating if they are hit. We are waiting to see what happens before we hit them. We could take them all out in one day, but it's all resulting in a 90% decline in various things, but in particular, Iranian missile launchers, and 83% drop in drone launchers. As you know, the drone launchers are pretty well shot, but we're at over 90% decline in the Iranian missile launchers, which is very hard to reproduce and very hard to get. And usually what we were able to do through great equipment, a lot of smart people, as soon as they sent a missile up from a launcher, we were able to knock out that launcher within a period of 5 minutes or less, accurately right on the noggin. So now we have low-cost interceptors effectively combating Iranian drones, and our B-2 bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound bombs to destroy missile launchers all over Iran and buried deep under Iranian soil in many cases. The soil was no match. and we're also annihilating the manufacturing base that the regime uses to build drones and missiles at a rate that nobody thought was possible. We're knocking them out. We know where they all are. We're knocking them out very quickly. We're ahead of our initial timeline by a lot. I would say that we probably would not have thought after a month we'd be here, in addition to the fact that we've taken out the leadership twice and maybe 3 times. And we, as you know, we want to be involved. We don't want another president that maybe wouldn't be willing to do what I'm willing to do for the good of the world, for the good of our nation, to be stuck with the situation in 5 years or 10 years from now. So we think they should put a president in, or the head of the country in, that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change. They've been doing this for 47 years, killing people for 47 years, whether it's the barracks or even the SS Cole where they were involved. Very strongly, they always denied it. But where they were very strongly involved, and all of the people that died through the roadside bombs, died and are right now walking around with no legs, no arms, a face that's been so badly damaged. The Iranian regime has been attacking Americans and spreading terror for 47 years, and despite these countless opportunities to renounce their nuclear ambitions, which they had just a short while ago, they told Mr. Witkoff, who is standing right over here, they said, they actually said, we want to keep building. Essentially, in a real nutshell, we want to continue to build nuclear weapons. If we didn't knock out Midnight Hammer, if we didn't knock out their Iranian potential, if we didn't do that with Midnight Hammer, they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it long before now. And at a minimum, Israel would have been annihilated. I was very lucky that we had the courage to do that, that we had the talented pilots and the great equipment. The B-2 bombers are unbelievable. We ordered 25 more, by the way. The newer, better version. It's we have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest equipment in the world by far. You see that no matter where we go. You still need the people, though, to operate it and to use it. And those are the people that we cherish. Even after we obliterated their key nuclear sites in Operation Midnight Hammer, they never negotiated in good faith. They still continued to say, we want to build nuclear. We want enrichment at levels that were unacceptable. And they even turned down an offer for unlimited free nuclear fuel forever for civilian purposes. We had people offering them free nuclear fuel. They weren't interested in that because they wanted to build a nuclear weapon. So instead, the regime was trying to reconstitute its weapons program at a different site. They couldn't go back to where they were, the 3 sites that we obliterated, but they were starting work at another site, a different kind of a site, and that was protected by granite. They wanted it protected. Granite's pretty good, but they wanted it protected by a lot deeper. They wanted to go a lot deeper, and they started the process while rapidly building conventional ballistic missiles. They were going to do it all at the same time that threatened our overseas bases and soon could have reached even our homeland. The regime's intention was to use this exponentially growing ballistic missile threat to make it virtually impossible to prevent them from obtaining a nuclear weapon. So as you probably saw, they had a tremendous number of missiles, most of which are now being used or destroyed, and very unsuccessfully used because we have been able, for the most part, to shoot them all down. What incredible technology. The Patriots have been unbelievable, and other things. And the laser technology that we have now is incredible. It's coming out pretty soon. Where literally lasers will do the work of, at a lot less cost, do the work of what the Patriots are doing or what other things are doing. The situation was very quickly approaching the point of no return, and the United States found it intolerable, in my opinion, based on what Steve and Jared and Pete and others were telling me, Marco, so involved, that I thought that they were going to attack us. I thought they would, if we didn't do this at the time we did it, I think they had in mind to attack us. And if you notice, they did something which was very foolish, very stupid, I would say. They attacked their neighbors. And their neighbors were largely neutral, or at least weren't going to be involved, and they got attacked. And it had the reverse effect. The neighbors came onto our side and started attacking them, and actually quite successfully. If you look at Saudi Arabia, you look at UAE, Qatar, and others, but they were strong and they were smart, but they got attacked. Nobody, when I first heard it, I said, no, somebody made a mistake. There was no mistake. UAE had over 1,000 missiles shot at it, knocked them almost all down. On the very first day I came down the escalator in 2015, I said, quote, I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons, and all I'm doing is keeping my promise. Think of that. That was in 2015. I said it. It was a threat then and a much bigger threat now, but no longer a threat, not for a long time anyway. We want to keep it that way. As we continue Operation Epic Fury, we're also focused on keeping energy and oil flowing to the world, and I will not allow a terrorist regime to hold the world hostage and attempt to stop the globe's oil supply, and if Iran does anything to do that, they'll get hit at a much, much harder level. I will take out those targets that were easy and that I mentioned just before. We'll take them out so quickly, they'll never be able to recover, ever. If they want to play that game, they better not play that game. In the long run, oil supplies will be dramatically more secure without the threat of Iranian ships, drones, missiles, nuclear menace, or anything. So the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain safe. We have a lot of Navy ships there. We have the best equipment in the world, inspecting for mines. Again, most of their ships are down at the bottom of the sea, but we will hit them so hard that it will not be possible for them or anybody else helping them to ever recover that section of the world if they do anything. In recent years, the regime and its terror proxies have launched attacks on hundreds of commercial vessels. We're putting an end to all of this threat once and for all, and the result will be lower oil prices, oil and gas prices for American families. We've done that. We've done it. We brought it very low. This was just an excursion into something that had to be done. We're getting very close to finishing that, too. In the meantime, during this brief disruption, the United States is offering political risk insurance to any tankers operating in the Gulf. So we're putting up risk insurance. We'll perhaps go alongside of them for protection. We don't think it'll be necessary if it is. And if they do anything, the price will be incalculable. It will be so great that they will have wished they never did it, because you have to keep the straits flowing. With all of that, it affects other countries much more than it does the United States. It doesn't really affect us. We have so much oil. We have tremendous oil and gas, much more than we need. We have Venezuela now as our new partner, great partner. They've worked out so wonderful. We're working with the administration, the president, and it's a massive source of oil, gas, everything. But we're in a very good position, but very unfair to other parts of the world, like China as an example. I mean, we're doing this for the other parts of the world, including countries like China. They get a lot of their oil through the straits. So we're doing this. We have a very good relationship with President Xi in China. I'm going there in a short period of time, and we're protecting the world from what these lunatics are trying to do, and very successfully, I might add. We're also waiving certain oil-related sanctions to reduce prices. So we have sanctions on some countries. We're going to take those sanctions off till this straightens out. Then who knows, maybe we won't have to put them on. There'll be so much peace. But when the time comes, the U.S. Navy and its partners will escort tankers through the strait if needed. I hope it's not going to be needed, but if it's needed, we'll escort them right through. And we have the greatest mine-sweeping ability. We have the greatest ships, and we know exactly where they're placed. We'll get them out of there very fast, but we hope we don't have any of that. And again, if they do that, if they play that game, we're going to hit them at a level that they have not seen before. So we're winning very decisively. We're way ahead of schedule. It's Our military is the greatest in the world, with the greatest equipment and the greatest people in the world. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Iran's a very powerful country. They were going to take over the Middle East. If we did not hit them, they were going to take over the Middle East. They had thousands and thousands, since their last hit, they had thousands and thousands of missiles and everything else. Most are now destroyed. But they were going to take over the Middle East. Those weapons were aimed at Middle Eastern countries that had nothing to do with this. They were going to take over the Middle East, and they were going to try and destroy Israel. So we stopped it with good timing, and we're very proud to be involved in this, and it's going to be ended soon. And if it starts up again, they'll be hit even harder.
It's 7:49. That, of course, was President Trump. A little bit earlier today, he held this press conference to give an update on what's going on with the war in Iran. You heard his comments, his feelings about where we stand, what he viewed as tremendous success. But what happens a little bit later after those comments was a Q&A section that we will play for you in just a little bit. So let's take a quick break. We're going to check back in on the committee meeting that's taken place. We're going to get an update from the folks at TMZ over a shooting outside of Rihanna's house, and we will get back to more comments with President Trump. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. We'll be back. $7:52, Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. I'm Bill Anderson. The conversation continues on all our streaming platforms. So if you would like to jump in, you can go over to the Fox 29 TikTok page, Instagram page, YouTube page, Facebook page. You also can hit me up at Bill A. Fox 29. I'm on there interacting with people in the various chat rooms, getting some of your questions and comments as I continue to read through them now. We're going to take a break away. That happened a little bit earlier with President Trump, so we will get back to the Q&A section, but we want to go back to that meeting that is happening over a development that is scheduled to take place. It has expanded, and the community has real concerns over the depth and the breadth of this project, the impact that it's going to have on the environment, and so much more. It's been pretty heated. Let's get back to it.
Birth, placental inflammation, increased risk of pregnancy complication. So it is quite positively shocking to me that in spite of knowing all of these concerns of health, a data center is being given the permission not only to be built right across the community, but also expand. So my question to you as a voting citizen, knowing this, is what are you going to do? What are you going to recommend and do to the Board of Supervisors? This is very important. So just a couple of seconds, sir. I know you're very much with the clock. So the thing that I would ask is that the board, the company, and your team has not really talked about health studies that have been done. I know professor of audiology, has talked about the levels of whatever. Sorry, yeah, the decibels of sound and stuff. But it's very important to know that what these things are actually going to cause. So that's why, as a medical doctor, I'm here to talk about this, and I hope it's clear. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Mr. Kelly, good afternoon or good evening. My name
Good
is
evening.
Richard Wall, W-A-L-L, and I live in East Whiteland Township. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Can you hear me? My name is Richard Wall. East Whiteland is not only my home, it's my place of employment. I'm an adjunct professor here at Penn State Great Valley. One of my offices is up there, and the faculty that I work with, it's an honor and a privilege to be here and to represent my community. One of my courses here in this building is entitled Ethical Professional Leadership. The core of my teaching encourages adult graduate students to make the right decision under difficult circumstances. I encourage you to do the same by rejecting this proposed amendment. This amendment represents a fundamental breach of the core mandate governing land use in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which is to, quote, provide for the general welfare as codified in the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code, Article 1, Section 105. All decisions, therefore, must protect health and safety and preserve natural and historic resources. This is a mandate. To be clear, you are being asked to approve a massive industrial footprint atop a lithium-contaminated Superfund site adjacent to hundreds of homes filled with children and a vibrant immigrant population, as well as a daycare center on Backton Hill Road and an American Revolutionary battlefield. This proposal represents a clear mismatch in scale and presents risk of physical and financial harm, thereby inviting litigation. This proposal violates, quote, the valid public purpose standard of the NPC because it presents a permanent conflict with local infrastructure, environmental conditions, and quality of life, health, and safety. The applicant characterizes 629,830 square feet of building coverage and a substantial relocation of industrial equipment as an amendment to the 2024 board approval. These are not minor deviations under established Pennsylvania land use case law. Rather, they constitute substantial and material changes to the approved application, representing a fundamental departure from the plan itself. However, these substantial and material changes were not presented before the planning board. As such, the right of the public to be informed of the details in order to respond and present evidence and argument was bypassed in the violation of NPC. To quote, this is a quote, to respond and present evidence and argument, we have to be notified of the information in order to object to it. We are called objectors, and we have a right to a 30-day appeal. This new information deprived us of that constitutional right. It violates the NPC. As such, a new zoning application is required, so the rights enshrined As such, a new zoning application is required so the rights enshrined in the MPC are preserved. In conclusion, when the facade of marketing and presentations is removed from this analysis and replaced by critical thinking and the facts presented to you this evening, it is crystal clear the approval of this amendment will serve as a legislative abandonment of the obligation to safeguard our community's public health, investments, and preservation of national heritage.
Thank
Finally,
you, sir.
I've
You're
been interrupted by applause. I'm
You're a
entitled to
minute and
finish.
23 seconds
I'm going to
over.
continue
I have
because
to
I was
let other
violated.
people speak.
I began my career in the city of Philadelphia as an assistant district attorney. I stood before members of my community. I presented facts and asked them to serve justice. I swore an oath of office. It is in this light that I ask you to remember, ladies and gentlemen, the NPC exists to protect general welfare, not facilitate its destruction.
Thank you for your comments. Hello, ma'am.
Hi. Can everyone hear me? Okay, I'll pull it out. All right, good evening. Thank you all for being here and hearing us out. I appreciate that. I'm Kelly Donia, and I live at 10 Corbin Drive, right across from where this data center is going to be. I also work on the eastern side at 1 South Backton Hill Road, so I will live and breathe this every day. So will my team. Everything that I'm hearing tonight and everything I've researched about data centers, it concerns me. Even if you ask AI, are data centers good? The overwhelming answer is no. Put that on, tell us. With certainty, though, our property values are going to go down and our utilities are going to go up. But when it comes to our health, safety, and general welfare, uncertainty is what I'm hearing. If we think back to new technologies or drugs or inventions that come out and even after preliminary testing and research were found to harm us, think about asbestos, DDT, social media, OxyContin. All of these were thought to be good at first and later to be found harmful. Some of these ended up spurring billions of dollars in lawsuits. Not knowing what the effects of the data center's noise, pollution, massive energy consumption, or other unknowns, I would ask that you take a pause. Right now, there are multiple bills being considered to keep data centers away from residential areas because of the unknowns. And I know that this is not going to be, this is grandfathered in, but we need to take a pause. If you cannot be 100% sure that this will not affect our well-being, health, environment, and pocketbooks, then please turn down this amended plan. If you're in your mission statement, you promise to serve our community and the citizens of East Whiteland Township in order to improve the quality of life for all of our citizens. Approving this plan with all of this uncertainty is against your mission statement. I am sure. Thank you.
It's just about 8 o'clock, Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. We're going to break away for just a couple minutes from this hearing that is taking place. The East Whiteland Planning Commission is looking into this proposed data center that, as you've been able to see, has significant interest and pushback from the community. We will continue to listen to those public comments throughout. We are going to take a break. Coming back, there was an FBI raid after what's being called a terror incident in New York City, links back to some local teens, and we will discuss that, as well as an update from TMZ on the shooting that took place at Rihanna's house over the weekend. We'll be right back. It's Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. 8:04. It's Philadelphia Live on Fox Local, all streaming platforms. That means Fox 29 TikTok page, Facebook page, YouTube page. We are here interacting with you and the questions and the comments. So if you have anything that you would like to share, go ahead and hit us up. You can see, I always do it because it's reversed, my social media up there at Bill A. Fox 29. Go ahead and give me a follow on all social platforms as well as my YouTube page, Bill Anderson on TV. All right, we have been discussing throughout, there was what's being called a terror incident that happened in New York City, but the FBI conducted a raid today, or actually conducted a raid previously, that led to an arrest and connection of individuals in our area. Our Joanne Pileggi has been looking into it. It's something people have been following throughout the day, Joanne, and we just continue to get more information and kind of try to put the pieces together.
Absolutely, Bill. Good evening, everyone. There is a deep and very close connection between two Bucks County teenagers, young men, so to speak, and a major incident in New York City over the weekend. We're here in Middletown Township right now, and the FBI is at a storage facility here searching for additional evidence. Now, the FBI, along with scene security by Middletown Township Police Department, executing a search warrant here at this public storage facility, all part of a widening investigation after two Bucks County teens have been charged with attempting to support ISIS and use of a weapon of mass destruction, among other accusations. All this happening at a counter-protest to an anti-Islamic demonstration outside New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani's official residence on Saturday. New York City police have released these photos of the suspects: 18-year-old Amir Balad and 19-year-old Ibrahim Qayyumi. Police say the duo drove to New York City with dangerous homemade explosive devices which have, according to officials, been used in previous terror attacks in the United States and around the world. Police say Balad tossed one of the devices which did not detonate. His alleged accomplice, Qayyumi, handed him another which fell to the ground. Both were arrested and were charged in federal court today. Balad is a student at Neshaminy High School, and Qayyumi graduated from Council Rock High School within the past 2 years. People in the community are shocked and wondered how these two young teens from Bucks County became radicalized, and both of them apparently alluded to connections to ISIS in their interviews with investigators. Now, back here at the scene of the storage facility, the FBI is on the scene here. You can see the flashing lights. Those are local police, the Middletown Township Police Department, providing scene security, keeping the media out. The storage facility, has been closed since early afternoon. The FBI again searching for potential additional evidence in this explosive case, which links Bucks County, two teenagers from Bucks County, to an alleged attempted terror attack in New York City. Bill, it's a case that I think will continue as the days follow, and we are, of course, under the umbrella of the war in Iran, and a lot of talk about sleeper cells all around the country. So many people are on high alert, and when you hear a story like this, it is, of course, concerning.
Joanne, is there truth to the statement, the reports that I have seen, that the reason we are suspecting this connection to ISIS is more or less because they said it? They were waiving rights and started talking and sharing information.
Yes, according to that affidavit and according to the New York City Police Commissioner and the FBI, they held a news conference today. Apparently both of the teens talked after they were arrested and talked about watching videos of ISIS on social media. And there are reports, which were substantiated by the federal authorities, that both of the teenagers had traveled out of the country over the past 2 years and had attended some extremist training camps in Turkey and in Saudi Arabia. So there is still so much more to unpack about this story. Again, alarming, of course, because here we are in Bucks County, and these two teenagers, their families were naturalized citizens. They moved here. They both lived in upper middle class neighborhoods and nice houses. And somehow they apparently became radicalized.
And then one more thing, Joanne, because we saw earlier today our
Sure.
chopper was there when authorities first arrived and started searching. So we know that we can see that there is a significant police presence searching that storage facility. We don't know what for, correct?
No, we don't know what for. You know, when I first arrived here, tried to drive there, and we were told that it was closed. And then as the day progressed, we saw a lot more police activity. Again, we're being kept back 75, 100 yards from the actual scene, but there are federal agents here. There is local police here. I did view a photographer's close-up photo, and you could see some of the officers and agents in tactical gear. What that means, we don't know. Are they searching for additional chemicals? Again, the police showed us photos today of those crude homemade bombs, which they're improvised explosive devices, which the two allegedly made somewhere. Maybe they made them here. We don't know that part of the equation. But again, had they detonated, the police commissioner in New York City and other officials said it could have been so much worse. Those crude bombs were made of screws and nuts and bolts and shrapnel, as they called it, and had they actually detonated, so many more people may have been hurt or injured at that demonstration. Again, it was a counter demonstration against a right-wing provocateur, as they call him, who was holding an anti-Muslim rally outside Mayor Zohran Mamdani's official residence, Gracie Mansion, in New York City.
All right, Joanne, thank you very much. And I see you're continuing to gather information, so we'll be looking for more in the 10 o'clock and throughout the next several days as more information comes forward. Thanks, Joanne.
Sure.
That's Joanne Pileggi, who is looking into that case. As we said a little bit earlier, we got notification that our chopper was over top of that storage facility as FBI and other law enforcement were there, began searching that storage facility. We don't know what for. They just said that it was in connection to these young people who were allegedly involved in these homemade bombs, they're calling them, that did not detonate. But as we get more information, we will share it. It's about 8:12. Everything in terms of weather has looked very good. We've got over the next couple of days, things are going to continue to be pretty good, Kathy, and we're going to continue to stay in the present. Forget about this cold that may be coming a week or so from now. Right now, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I just stepped outside. It is so lovely, and you could smell like people were barbecuing outside. I smelled like little charcoal. Why not? You know, people are out getting the grill. And I just saw a bunch of kids going down Market Street to go to Franklin Fountain, a very popular ice cream spot on about, I think it's 2nd and Market, going to get ice cream. I mean, it really feels like summer/spring-ish. But take a look down the shore. We've had a lot of fog today. It was sunny earlier in the day. The fog started rolling in 4 or 5 o'clock. And we have a dense fog advisory, not just for the shore, but even for inland areas, including Philadelphia. So you can kind of imagine where this is. See the sign in reverse? It's pizza. That's Manco and Manco on the boardwalk. Typically, we can look north on the boardwalk and see the Music Pier, but not tonight. The temperature 54 degrees and dense fog down the shore, especially south of Atlantic City. We're seeing it in Stone Harbor. We're seeing it in Wildwood. So that's what we're in for tonight. Dense fog advisory from 2 a.m. until 10 a.m. tomorrow. It includes Philadelphia, Delaware County, all of South Jersey, and also as you head through the entire state of Delaware, close, of course, to the coast and even the Delaware River, and that's what we're looking at now. So the fog is expected to spread as far inland as Delco and Philadelphia County during the overnight period until 10 a.m. Visibility now 10 miles through most of the region, picking up half mile in Wildwood and Atlantic City. That reading is at the airport, so it's 9 miles inland from the shore. That's why the visibility is so good there. So expect those numbers to go down, as an advisory means that visibility will get down to about a quarter mile to a half a mile, and that will be an issue during the overnight. So as we move forward, overnight tonight, low temperatures in the 40s, Even Allentown close to 40 degrees. And look at that little box. It says average low 32 degrees. That's the average low in the city of Philadelphia. So we're going to be 12 degrees above that. So starting off cool in the morning, but nothing like it has been. And by the afternoon, temperatures are near 80 degrees. And even if we hit 80, Bill, that is not a record. We'll hold off on the potential for record-breaking warmth until Wednesday. We start in the 50s, we end up in the 70s, but the record is 74 degrees in Philadelphia. That was set in 2021, and we could break that record. And there's lots of records throughout the neighborhoods that will be broken on Wednesday. Fast forward, rain chances, changes in weather. That is going to come Wednesday night into Thursday morning with a cold front. Is the air cold behind it? No, but it's much cooler. So this is how it's going to play out. Tonight we get the fog. You can see the clouds on Ultimate Doppler here. That fog through South Jersey and Delaware through tomorrow morning, including Philadelphia. And then Tuesday, we see sun, increasing clouds, and you see those showers through upstate New York, another band of rain coming in from the west. That's the front, and that will bring a change in our weather. So we get rain Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and then we see temperatures falling. How much are they going to fall? Well, you can see 78 degrees Wednesday, Thursday 59, and falling into the 40s. If there's any lingering precipitation after the front, it will be rain. Some of the apps are trying to say it would change to snow. It's not going to be cold enough, and there's not going to be enough moisture for that to happen, so don't listen to your app. And then Friday will go 50, which is seasonable. Saturday and Sunday, temperatures are in the 50s. And then Monday, it's 54. Now, I do want to jump ahead and talk about what Bill was talking about, because by next week, then another front comes through Monday into Tuesday. Tuesday is St. Patrick's Day. It's only going to be 35, and morning lows are going to be in the 20s, possibly Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, and then Thursday we're back in the 40s. So yes, it can get cold again, Bill Anderson.
All right, but that's not, I mean, it's not going to be painfully cold. Like, yes, it's not going to be winter again.
No, it's not going to stick. Anything that happens in March is not permanent. Just remember that.
I like it, because we're still trying to melt down. We talked about this earlier. All the snow and ice from those storms still exists, and it's trying to melt away, even in the 70s.
Yeah, it's going to be hard just because of all the dirt and the mud and the stones, and that makes it all more difficult to melt.
It's crazy. All right, Kathy, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We will check in with Kathy a little bit later on. We've got good news as it relates to the weather. We are going to take a break. I haven't done much for our social media trending stories, comments, because there has been a lot going on, and we will get back to that town hall meeting. But the question that we had that was trending on social media was about, well, there's two questions. One, our question of the day that you can go to fox29.com/go vote. Where's your favorite place to go when it's nice outside? We're experiencing that over the next couple days. So fox29.com/go vote, and you can answer that, participate in that poll. And then also, a woman placed a large order. She is now going viral because she ordered a bunch of groceries, 6 cases of water and the like. And she said she ordered it because she didn't want to deliver it. When the delivery driver showed up, they called her and asked her to come down from her walk-up apartment and help them carry it in. So it has gone viral, and people asking the question whether or not she should come down and help if she already paid for delivery. Several comments. I will read 2 and then get to break. One person says, Blue Collar Luxury says, it depends. I use Instacart because I live on the top floor and I don't feel like lugging the water or the packages upstairs. That's why I tip. Somebody else says, I would leave it at the bottom of the stairs and take my 1-star bad review as the delivery person. End of story. So you can comment at Bill A. Fox29 on social platforms, at Fox29 Philly. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back, get back to that heated town hall meeting that we were watching previously. 821 Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. We're also up on all streaming platforms. We're interacting with you. It is live, it is real time, it is engaging and interactive. And we also continue to follow what's going on trending. So we've got our web team. Jake is here with us in this control room, but Cam is out and about working on the web team as well as all of the trending topics and steps up to let us know all the things that you guys are searching. Hey, Cam.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well. How are you?
Good. So
Good.
taking a look at our top stories on the web right now, people are looking at the article where it comes to the Pennsylvania State Trooper who was shot and killed over the weekend. We have extensive coverage there and some neighborhood community sound and whatnot there. So it's kind of the first article that you see when you go to fox29.com. We have all of those details for you. Another story that we just got that is trending on the web, Uber is launching something brand new called a woman-only option, basically, where you can pick to have your driver be female or woman-only. It's something that I know Lyft has done in the past, and now Uber is starting to roll that out. They announced it today. So if you want more details on that, go to fox29.com, and you can get all the scoop on Uber's new woman-only option.
Is that, so when that launches, and I know other places have done that, I'm always concerned about how they protect the drivers. Like, I understand it's supposed to make the person safe, like the person who's ordering, but how does that protect the driver from someone who may have ill intentions and now is able to guarantee that it's a woman driver coming to pick them up?
That's a great question. I guess you would have to read more into Uber's terms and conditions and safety protocol. It doesn't look like there's anything to differentiate, you know, how it can be more safe for the drivers. Like you mentioned, this is something more for passengers, so it is always something, if you are driving, if you're a rideshare driver, to be careful regardless of your passengers, to make sure, you know, that your safety is also put first.
All right, Cam, thank you very much. Continue to
Thank you,
keep
Bill.
us posted. Appreciate
Will
it.
do.
And Cam is there. Cam Scrivens is working with the web team, so they're updating things up to the second at fox29.com. If it is trending, if people are talking about it, Cam and the team are out there working on it. Let's get back to that committee meeting that has been taking place. It's about a data center that is proposed, and a lot of people have been there giving their feelings about it. Some pro, mostly con. Let's listen in.
Okay, I just didn't know, and I just bring this up is because non-hazardous frack waste that's radioactive from oil and gas operations in Pennsylvania is deemed non-hazardous under state exemptions. So that makes me very nervous as to what it is.
Yeah, I was looking online. I couldn't find anything. It's Munters, I think, is the name of the
system.
Yeah, the brand.
The brand is that the brand of the
cooled chiller. I couldn't find anything about the material that's used. Correct. Yes. The coolant.
The coolant. I'm calling it coolant.
Right, because I mean I think typically, Katie, I know I'm using your time. Sorry. So typically coolants would be like HCFCs, HFCs, which are hazardous. So it would be good to know what is being used.
So the refrigerant used in the Munters chiller is R513A. It's a zero ozone depletion refrigerant, and it is the most current and industrial use for refrigeration equipment right now.
Can you repeat R513A?
That's right.
It's also it's the same refrigerant used in most, supermarket cooling, everything around the town. And it's also on the Superfund issue. That is a clerical error, an unfortunate one on the website. If you'd like, we have someone here who shepherded this through the EPA to where it is today, if helpful.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Fields. I'm an environmental consultant for this project. Jennifer Fields, Fields. I've been working with this team for a few years now, specifically working with EPA, working on the site, the environmental issues. There's been a couple of things that just weren't correct that have been said, so I'll just take an opportunity to correct that. But first I'll address the issue with site-wide ready for anticipated use. That's a code that EPA uses when a site is been cleaned up to a standard that they're meets their goal for the site, and then they register it as ready for anticipated use, which it was declared in 2018, and you can find that in the 2024 5-year review. It says
I have
that.
it here, and
Yeah.
I read it, and I
It's-
think there's more problems in there, and I'm being kind by not bringing
Well,
those up right now.
It says that, and that discrepancy was brought to my attention, and so I called EPA and said, hey, there's an issue here. You've got one part of your website saying one thing and another part saying something else.
Do you work for the EPA?
I do not.
Sorry, I thought you did. I just was clarifying that I didn't. I know there's names listed.
I
on
have
the
asked
website.
EPA to
Got
clarify
it.
why there's two positions on that issue, and I don't have the answer yet.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your honesty.
And just the other thing, the site was.
Is it cleaned up to the statewide health standard or the
It's not the same
residential?
that's like an Act 2 standard,
Right,
statewide
so
health.
what is the standard?
So EPA has its own set of standards, and in fact, it was cleaned up to a residential standard. That was sort of the original reuse of the property was, CCRC is a code for continuing care retirement community. So this was going to be a retirement community originally. That's not what's happening now. But that was the original intent. So it was cleaned up to that standard. Now, as all Superfund sites go, standards can change. That's why they do a 5-year review. So this has had 3 5-year reviews since it was deemed cleaned up in 2010. So it wasn't actually cleaned up until 2010. And in those reviews, they look at things like, for example, lithium, the standard has changed. And so now EPA wants to come back and do some additional monitoring at the site to see if their remedy is protective. In addition to that, for example, one of the things we have to do is provide the design to EPA to say, EPA, does this design impact the remedy? And if it impacts the remedy, what can we do to mitigate that? And so we're having those discussions with EPA now. They will review the plan. They reviewed the previous plan, the digging of the basement.
So you submitted a new plan, and that's what's now on this. I did notice on their website for the steps, it does say that the site-wide combined remedial investigation / feasibility study, EPA, in parentheses, EPA performed start date, this is new, was March 2nd of 2026. And then the completion date's obviously blank because it's only March 9th. But so that is what you're speaking to?
No, ma'am. That is their intention to collect some additional data, which is identified in the 5-year review.
In that, okay, got it.
Yes.
And so, but in that 5-year review, it's mentioned that it's cleaned up to the residential standard?
It goes through the whole history of what the standard was at the time, what it was cleaned up to, that it was certified, and then in
Did the standard
subsequent
change?
years, the standard has changed. Yes.
And that, okay. That
And so
makes-
we're working through what that looks
Got it.
like with that.
That's helpful knowledge in terms of how the process.
Right,
got
and
to-
the thing about the basement being dug, it's not being dug into the cap. The cap is a separate property, and that property is not being touched.
Right,
The,
I
the
think-
remainder of the property, which is where the buildings are constructed, is the site that's been cleaned up.
But it
This is getting a little bit technical, so it's a good place to take a break. They're talking about the plans of development of a data center in East Whiteland. This is a planning commission meeting, and the reason that we're covering it is because it's gotten very spirited as this plan has evolved from a 1 million square foot design to a 1,600,000 square foot design, and has continued to evolve and change. The community has questions and concerns, and they are expressing them. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will come back. Going to get an update on sports as promised. We're going to go back to the Q&A from President Trump earlier after he gave an update on what was going on with the war in Iran and more. So stay with us. It's Philadelphia Live on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. 8:33 Philadelphia Live on Fox Local, also Fox 29 TikTok, Fox 29 Instagram, Fox 29 YouTube and Facebook. And I am at Bill A. Fox 29. Eventually I'm going to get this so that I just point to it and know where it is. So you can follow me at Bill A. Fox 29 on all streaming platforms, and we are interacting and engaging with you. Next up, Marcus is here to get us all caught up on sports. First off, Marcus, any updates on the World Baseball Classic? It's still nothing?
It is still scoreless, top of the second.
Okay, so this one is supposed to be a pretty tight battle.
Yes, this one is expected. I mean, both teams are 2-0, so it should be a great matchup. It could be even, well, right now it's pretty competitive. Sorry, I'm looking at the game as I'm talking to you, but yeah, it's scoreless right now, and it should be a competitive one.
Well, and that makes two of us. So I'm talking to you and got the game on right here, trying to see what's going on also. So we're both trying to update everything in real time. All right, so tell me that the Eagles haven't lost any more players since the last time I spoke to you guys.
Since the last time you talked with Scott, no, the Eagles so far have kept all their guys since then. But I mean, like, as you mentioned before, I mean, huge headlines regarding the 4 Eagles that have left the nest. I mean, you have Jalen Phillips from Carolina, Reed Blankenship going to Houston, you got Nakobe Dean going to the Raiders, and Jahan Dotson going to the Falcons. But as of right now, those were the latest. The last headlines have died down since the last time we've talked, so that should be the rest of the night. But I mean, you never know, and we'll definitely keep you guys updated.
Of the names that you just mentioned, which one surprises you the most?
I'm surprised at how much Phillips signed. I mean, kudos to him for getting paid. I'm just surprised that a team would look at him and say, that's worth $120 million over 4 years. I mean, he had a good year. I don't think he had a 9-digit kind of year to where I would put that much faith in him. So I'm surprised at how much he cost. I'm also surprised at Reed Blankenship for the fact that I think the Eagles could have afforded to probably one-up that deal. I think they could have easily done like a 3-year, $30 million. But the thing that's the interesting thing is Jalen Carter is due to get paid, and I think his contract is going to be a huge influence on a lot of the other free agents that the Eagles have, and I think this is a prime example of a couple guys that they could have signed, but because of Jalen Carter's contract, it may be easier said than done.
Well, I think the other thing about Reed Blankenship, and I agree with you in terms of whether or not they could have afforded him, but if you trust Howie, then it must mean they have a reason that they didn't. I mean, I wonder if they feel like that's a space that they can fill, and maybe he was not. We loved him, but maybe he wasn't the standout that people thought he was for that money.
I could agree with that. I mean, they see these guys in terms of I mean, like Howie, Sirianni, they see their players a lot more than we see them. I mean, we see them in availabilities, we see them in games. They see them behind closed doors. So there could have been an inkling that Blankenship was leaning on the decline, especially with considering his age. And also, we tend to forget Howie is great when it comes to drafting players. So there could be someone in this upcoming draft class that could be the next Reed Blankenship, that could be the next Nakobe Dean, the next Jalen Phillips, the next Jahan Dotson. Well, even better than that, to where they could say, you know what, we can get these guys for cheaper. I mean, with the Reed deal, they actually got a 6th-round compensation pick. So they can definitely turn that around into a trade package or find somebody, a diamond in the rough, so to speak, to fill that role.
It was frustrating watching Jalen Phillips, but then you have to start thinking, okay, so if I've got to pay somebody $30 million a season, can I go get a player for less than that who is going to have similar impact? Part of me feels like Howie has earned the benefit of the doubt, and that you probably can for $30 million a season. And the same with Blankenship. I love Nakobe Dean, but his replacement is already on the roster.
And I mean, Howie has shown, not just Howie, but also the coaches have shown through history that they can take somebody who you're like, who? and turn them into a star. I mean, for a couple years, they had linebackers like Alex Singleton and TJ Edwards that were heavily leading the team in tackles. And I mean, Alex Singleton just got resigned with the Broncos for another couple years, so he's been making bank. TJ Edwards, I haven't heard his name in a bit, but I mean, he was an example of how you could take someone that no one's heard of and turn them into a star. So it doesn't surprise me that Howie could turn a linebacker into a stud, whether if it's somebody from free agency that we've never heard of, or they could easily draft somebody. So you're right. He does have the ability to take a no-name and build him into a star to where you don't have to spend $30 million. You could easily spend like 5 or at most even 10 for a guy for a couple years and still get either the same amount of production or even better.
And any thoughts before we go on the tanking Sixers?
All right, well, let me just double check here. They are, still losing. James Harden against his former team, still playing well. And I mean, there's really nothing new. Maxey, fortunately, doesn't have a fracture in his pinky, so he'll see a hand specialist in terms of an update in terms of when he'll come back. But I mean, the Sixers, again, still losing heavily. The Flyers, at last check, they were losing heavily to the Rangers. So just not the best night for our winter teams regarding the Sixers and Flyers, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know that any of the guys on the court are guys that James Harden played with. Right? These are the backup Sixers.
I don't think so. I don't think so either. So these are just strangers to him.
All right. Thank you, Marcus. Appreciate it. We will check in one more time as we head into the 9 o'clock hour. Okay, a little bit earlier on, we played you the press conference with President Trump giving updates on what's going on in Iran, his feelings about the status of this ongoing conflict, how long he expects it to last. And after he gave his presentation that we played for you, there was a Q&A section with members of the media that addressed even more questions and concerns. Let's watch.
Thank you so much. Do you approve of Iran's new supreme leader? And secondly, can you tell us more about your call with Russian President Vladimir Putin today?
Yes.
What did you discuss?
Yes, I had a very good call with President Putin. We had a lot of people on the line from our side, from his side. We were talking about Ukraine, which is just a never-ending fight. And look, there's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. They can't seem to get it together. But I think it was a positive call on that subject. And we obviously talked then about the Middle East. And he wants to be helpful. I said, you'd be more helpful by getting the Ukraine-Russia war over with. That would be more helpful. But we had a very good talk, and he wants to be very constructive. Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Iran, you called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
No,
Are you talking
but soon.
about days?
I think soon.
Okay, and with respect
Very
to
soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership. In fact, there are 2 levels of leadership, and even actually, as it turns out, more than that. But 2 levels of leadership are gone. Most people have never even heard about the leaders that they're talking about. So it's obviously been very, very powerful, very effective.
to Cuba, you said that Cuba wants to make a deal.
Yes.
What would the United States get in return for that, and why should Americans trust Marco Rubio to negotiate it?
Well, Marco Rubio is doing a great job. I think he's going to go down as the greatest Secretary of State in history. Look at what we've done as a presidency. Look at what we've done as an administration. They trust Marco, and so do the American people trust. He's been successful no matter where he's been. He also speaks the language, which is always nice and always helpful. But he's dealing, and it may be a friendly takeover. It may not be a friendly takeover. It wouldn't matter, because they're down to, as they say, fumes. They have no energy. They have no money. They're in deep trouble on a humanitarian basis. And we don't want to see that, but they were very, very bad to a lot of people, as you know, and a lot of people living the Cuban-American vote, which I got at record levels, very important. Those people are very important to me. I know what they went through. They went through hell. Some of them have gone on to be some of the most successful people in the country. Cuban-American business people, some of them are like the most successful in the country. And a lot of them are friends of mine because I've been fighting this battle with them for a long time. The Castro regime was brutal, but they lived off Venezuela. Now they don't live off Venezuela. Sends them no energy, no fuel, no oil, no money, no nothing. They lived without Venezuela. They couldn't have made it. And we cut them off from everything else. So, yeah, they're going to make either a deal or we'll do it just as easy anyway. Yeah. Please, go ahead.
Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I haven't seen it, and I will say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries, you know that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, I wish they had more, but whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic. It's sold to other countries, but that's being investigated right now. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared
Well, I think
for
you could
this war
say
to
it
last
both.
for?
It's the beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar, they have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership. It's all gone. So, you could look at that statement. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further. But the big risk on that war has been over for 3 days. We wiped them out in the first 2 days. When you think about it, it's incredible. We wiped out a big Navy, very powerful Navy. These were ships. These were serious ships. These were ships that you buy when you want to win battles. They're all on the bottom floor. The sailors are all running off their ships. They refuse to get on the ships. The Air Force is gone. Everything's gone. The missiles are down to a trickle. The drones are down to probably 25%, and they'll soon be down to nothing. We'll have where they manufactured the drones are under fire as we speak. They're being hit. So the rest is going to be a determination as to my attitude, along with the people in the Trump administration, what we want to do. Thank you. Yeah, please.
Can I ask you, you mentioned you were going to waive certain additional oil waivers or sanctions. Can you talk a little bit more about that and address in particular?
Well, we're looking to keep the oil prices down. We went artificially up because of this excursion into a very positive thing. I mean, this was an excursion that a lot of people wouldn't have done. I knew oil prices would go up if I did this, and they've gone up probably less than I thought they'd go up. But I don't think anybody thought we were going to be this quickly successful. This was a military success, the likes of which people haven't seen. We have the best military. We have the best equipment. We have, I believe, the best generals. We have the best. And this went very quickly. We talked about that with President Putin. He was very impressed with what he saw because nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. Iran was a very powerful military country with all of the missiles. Now, you had the double attack. You had the original attack with us and Israel, and that knocked them for a loop. Then you had the B-2 bombers, which took out their nuclear capability, and they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks to 4 weeks. And they would have used it long before this press conference. And we might have had a much different press conference if we had a press conference at all. But it's been amazing. The military success that we've had is truly unprecedented.
You've told your congressional colleagues that you will not sign any piece of legislation until the Save America Act is passed. Does that include the confirmation of Senator Mullen as your next DHS secretary? Does that mean a DHS funding bill? And Senator Thune said today it's not a matter of whether or not your Republican colleagues agree with the policy. It's about changing the process. In other words, getting rid of the filibuster to get there.
So in order to get it, you're going to need Democrat votes. And what we're saying is the Save America, not the SAVE Act, which nobody knew what it was, the Save America Act. The Save America Act. And that's voter ID. We want voter ID. When a voter, we want to be able to see a picture of the voter. We want to be able to see that the voter is legitimate. We want, very importantly, confirmation that this voter is a citizen of the United States of America, and we want no mail-in ballot scams. So we have exceptions for the military, for sick, for disabled, and for people that are away, business trips or whatever. Even vacations will be very liberal in that. We've added two things to it: no men and women's sports and no transgender mutilization of our children. We don't want it's mutilization of our children, and we don't want that. So we added those two things. That's the 5 points. We have 5 very good points. It polls at 86% with Democrats. Think of that. The overall vote is 86%. With Republicans, it's 98%. And the only one opposed to it is a Democrat leadership because they cheat. They want to cheat. So we added those 2 points. We're going for the gold, and we're going to have to fight like hell. Now, certain things will happen. Certain things will take place. I'm here to do a great job for the country. But we don't have a country, if we're going to have elections that are so corrupt and so dishonest like we've witnessed over the last period of time. You know, as an example, virtually nobody has nobody has a system of mail-in ballots like we have. No other country in the world. France went away from it. They all went, you know why? Because it's corrupt. And Jimmy Carter, when he had a commission, frankly, I think it's probably the best thing Jimmy Carter did. He said, you can't have mail-in voting because it's inherently dishonest. And it's turned out to be totally dishonest, so we're going to fight for it. Yeah.
Activated any sleeper cells inside the U.S. There's reports that they have pressed that trigger button to activate those cells, at least abroad.
Well, they've been trying for a long time. We've been very much on top of it. One of the things we have to do is get the Democrats to stop the Democrat shutdown, because, as you know, the apparatus that looks into that, Schumer and the Democrats have shut it down, which tells you they probably hate our country a lot. But the Democrats have to open that up. But we've got very, very good intelligence into that. We know a lot of different things that have happened that have been very bad. A lot of them came in during the Biden open border period, but we have them under, we've got them, we're watching every single one of them. Yeah, we know a lot about them. The biggest problem we have is the Democrat shutdown. We know a lot about them, but the shutdown doesn't allow us to do what we have to do.
Have to take him out? Does he have a target on his back?
You mean the new Supreme Leader? You mean the son?
How can there be an Iran?
Well,
with
I don't
Ayatollah?
want to say that, but you know, I was disappointed because we think it's going to lead to just more of the same problem for the country. So I was disappointed to see their choice.
Thank you, sir. You've said you have someone in mind to be the new Iranian leadership, if not the Ayatollah's son. What are you looking for in that person? Are you looking at someone internal, given that you just said that their leadership has been decimated?
I like the
and
idea
wiped
of, internal and eternal, come to think of it. But I like the idea of internal because it works well. I mean, I think we've proven that so far in Venezuela. We have a woman, Delcy, who has been, president of the country, very respected, she's doing a great job. And it's, no disruption. We had, as you remember, Iraq, where everybody got fired. The military got fired, the police got fired, the politicians got fired. There was nobody. And you know what they turned into? ISIS. And we don't want that. We don't want that. So I would like to see people that are inside go. Now, they talk about the son of the Shah. They talk about other people. But, hasn't been there in many, many years. We have a formula that's been very good so far. and I think it'll continue to be good. The relationship is extraordinary with Venezuela, smart country. We've taken out 100 million barrels of oil. It's right now in Houston being taken care of and made so beautiful. And you have to see this at work. They have, it's brought to the refineries. It's being refined in Houston, which is made exactly for that product. And so far, but it's 100 million barrels of oil, and now they have another 100 million barrels coming. And it's like a partnership. We're getting along so well with them. It's great for Venezuela, and it's great for the United States. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mr. President, you just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But Tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have Tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report. Yeah, please.
You said earlier that we've already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough. What do you consider enough? What's your baseline?
Where they're not going to be starting the following day to develop a nuclear weapon. Where they'll look at that man and some other people from the administration and say, all right, we're not going to do it. They were not willing to say that. And when Steve called up and he said that to me, I said, well, here we go. Let's do it the hard way. But the hard way, I think, is probably the easy way. When basically I can see that they will no longer have any capacity whatsoever for a very long period of time of developing weaponry that could be used against the United States, Israel, or any of our allies. We have great allies in the Middle East, great countries that are allies. And they were staying out of it until they got hit. Someday they'll have to do a story. Why did he do that? Why did they do that? But they were going to hit them. If I didn't hit them first, they were going to hit our allies first. I believe, upon information and belief, but I believe that he was going to, they were going to take over the Middle East. They were looking to take over the Middle East. Now, had Operation Midnight Hammer not taken place, that was definite, because they would have had a nuclear weapon within a matter of weeks. But that took place. That was a setback. But look at the number of missiles they were able to buy and make over the last 6 months. And those missiles were aimed at various countries. And when you look at over 1,000 missiles shot at like UAE, they were looking to take over the Middle East. We got there first. We're lucky. I'll tell you what, the Middle East and those countries, very rich countries, are very lucky that I was president instead of somebody else.
To U.S. action in Iran?
I don't think so, no. No, we get along very well on this. He was, I would say, philosophically a little bit different than me. I think he was maybe less enthusiastic about going, but he was quite enthusiastic. But I felt it was something we had to do. I didn't feel we had a choice. If we didn't do it, they would have done it to us. I felt, based on the negotiations that were being had by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco and Pete, and everybody was involved, I felt that they were looking to tap us along before they hit, and I thought they were going to hit. And if they hit us first, that would have been a very bad thing. In the back, please, in the back. About the Strait, you mean? Yeah, well, I want to keep it open. I want to keep it good. You know, it doesn't pertain to us so much as it does to China. We're really helping China here and other countries because they get a lot of their energy from the Straits. But, hey, look, we have a good relationship with China. It's my honor to do it. Yeah.
You have called him an unacceptable choice. So does he have a target on his back? And how can you say
I don't want to say whether or not he does because that would be inappropriate. But, hey, look, I had a target on my back because as you people wrote pretty well, they caught the assassin that was after me. So we just got them first, but they caught the assassin. They have him now in custody that was after me. So, you know, but people don't like to mention that, but they did catch him. And I'd like to congratulate our military, Secret Service, FBI, all of the people that worked on that, but they did. Yeah, please. Go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You promised the Iranian people you would help them, but it sounds like you're willing to end this fight after your military objectives have wrapped up. Isn't that a betrayal of the
Will
people?
I help them? I'd like to, if they can behave, but they've been very menacing. You know, they're great people. They have an amazing population. It's amazing, smart, brilliant, energetic. They have a great, I'd love to help them, but they have to be in a system that allows them to be helped. And right now they're in a system that only allows failure. And I don't want that. And I want a system that's not going to be attacking us. We want a system that can lead to many years of peace. And if we can't have that, we might as well get it over with right now. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, as of today, there have been 8 U.S. military fatalities associated with the war in Iran. How many American deaths are you willing to have in this war?
Well, as I said before, when you have conflicts like this, you always have death. And I was at Dover yesterday. I met the parents, and they were unbelievable people. They were unbelievable people, but they all had one thing in common. They said to me one thing, every single one: finish the job, sir. Please finish the job. And I'll leave you at that. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
So that was from the press conference a little bit earlier today. President Trump gave a briefing on what was going on in Iran that we played for you a little bit earlier. He then took a series of questions, quite a few, and that was the segment that we were just playing for you now to get you all caught up. We're going to take a break and then come back, get caught up on some of the things that continue to go on, some of our local stories, what's trending right now, another update on sports and weather, and so much more. So stay put. It's live, it's real time, it's Philadelphia Live on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. Heading into the 9 o'clock hour here on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. I continue to check in with, if you see me looking down, the reason is because I have here in front of me open the chat rooms, the message boards on all of the Fox platforms. I'm currently in Fox 29's live TikTok feed with some of the questions there, people asking questions about things that President Trump was saying, People have had some questions in the past about this ongoing hearing that we have been following, about the development going on about this. It is a data center that is being built, and it has evolved and it has changed, and the community has several concerns about it. And we've been listening in to some of the heated testimony, the questions and concerns. It's been going on for hours now, is still pretty hot. Let's listen into it just a little bit more.
What you all think the commission's responsibility is. You've clarified that it's not approving this, but what is the commission's responsibility?
Thank you for your question, and it's a good question. I sort of addressed this in the beginning of the meeting. The Planning Commission, our role is for land development. That is our role. We have nothing to do with the energy cost, the medical research on effects of data centers. It's strictly land development, which is the building, the plan itself, stormwater management, the building and the land property. I'm trying to answer the question, please, let me speak. Okay. That is the role of the Planning Commission. Now, what we think and what our role is, what we think personally, we are residents just like you. Actually, I live very close to the facility as well. So we have the same concerns. We care about the same things. So if you think we don't, you are dead wrong.
Oh, and I guess my more question was, after being able to hear from your constituents and community members and neighbors, what is the commission's responsibility to do with that, in juxtaposition to what you have in front of you, the agreements already signed and things like that? Like, what do you all see is the point of people putting all this in time and investment into something that's so important to them?
So I don't know if anybody else wants to speak as well, but after I'm finished this, I'd like some of the other members to chime in. So, like I said, our role is land development. We have to listen to and decide if they have met all of the obligations to meeting the ordinances, the zoning. That's our job. It's strictly facts. Our opinion doesn't really count so much. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. So if you want to speak, please get in line. Would somebody else like to chime in? Now,
they're all letting me run down. Just ask the question and we'll move on.
it's just a question. So the health of the... Wait a minute. Let's just let her finish her question. We're addressing her. You did speak, and you can speak again if you want to go to the back of the line. We'll let these other people who have been waiting patiently to speak for the first time, okay? Is that fair? Thank you.
No, I was asking a question that I think you're asking everyone to answer, but I think she just had a follow-up to that I am if I still have 45 seconds, you can have them. And I think that everybody else in the line gave her permission to go ahead. Is that? Okay, yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah. My only question is simple and straight. Does the health of the residents and the community and the township matters to the township, the county, the country, the state, the people? I just want to understand. If it is only about land, I want to understand who cares about health then. If there is no health, then the township should create a separate health department, and then the clients should always get a permission even from health, just like you get for land. You should get a health approval too.
I understand your question.
Does it make sense? Does it make sense?
It makes sense. I understand your question. I'm just telling you what our role is here.
Yeah, but who do we address to? Like, this is the platform where we can address.
Your state legislators.
But who's is and our
okay, all right, everybody.
And our
calm
state
down.
senator was already here. She is on the same page.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Listen, hold on. If you want to talk about what our legal obligation is here, maybe our township solicitor would like to give you some additional information that clearly I'm not getting to you.
Is the microphone on? Bernadette Kearney.
All right, guys, so as we have continued to follow this, you can see that it remains heated, and we will continue to dip back into it throughout the next hour or so that we have here. But now we're going to break away because we've been following a story, another local story that has been going on. It's just a sad situation. A woman who lost her life. We're still not exactly sure why. And our Jeff Skaversky has been looking into it. So Jeff, just kind of in her car when this happened.
Yeah, that's right, Bill. Tredyffrin Township Police have arrested 44-year-old Steve Wan and charged him with first-degree murder after investigators say he randomly shot and killed a woman driving her car in Berwyn late Saturday night. Authorities say the shooting happened around 10:47 near the intersection of Contention Lane and Old State Road. The woman was rushed to Paoli Hospital where she later died Sunday night. Police are not releasing the name of the victim out of the respect for the family. Now, the Chester County District Attorney called the shooting a random, unspeakable tragedy. They're saying investigators worked around the clock to arrest that suspect. You're seeing the mugshot right there. Again, 44-year-old Steve Wan. Now, court documents say that he is homeless and he is currently being held without bail at the Chester County Prison. He's due back in court on March 23rd. But this is a very, very shocked community. It is a very quiet street. We were out there this evening. People have begun to lay flowers out of respect for the woman that lost her life. And again, the woman's name is not being released at this time out of respect for the family. We talked to one resident who lives steps away from that tragedy, and he says he walks his dogs past that area all the time, and he is in shock. In fact, he came through there coming home from dinner on Saturday night, just around 11 o'clock, 10 minutes after this incident occurred. And he talked about it with his wife and wonders, could that have been him if he was there just 10 minutes earlier? So certainly a community in shock and family and loved ones grieving tonight after just an unspeakable tragedy.
That's scary. I mean, the whole thing is scary and sad and tragic. But I think that the word that was most shocking to me that you said was random. Like there's no indication, at least yet, that there was any reason or motivation for this?
Yeah, the police at this time, the district attorney and the police say at this time, they believe there is no connection between the suspect and the victim. And they believe right now it is just a random, just horrific crime that was committed in that area on the main line.
Unbelievable. All right, Jeff, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And we will see you again in the 10 o'clock news to get more information. That's just one of those situations where you're just left shaking your head. No connection, no reason, no confrontation, none of that. And yet somebody loses their life. Going to take a quick break and then we will come back. It's Fox 29. It's Philadelphia Live, on Fox Local and all streaming platforms, including Fox 29's TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Go there. We are in the chat. We can see your questions and comments, addressing them in real time. We'll be back. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. What's everybody looking for? There's been so much discussion. President Trump, the situation that's going on at this community hearing, and so much more. The situation with Rihanna outside of her home. So what are you searching for? What is trending? Cam Scrivens is back to break it all down for us. Hey, Cam.
Hey, so interesting you said Rihanna. She is trending, and specifically Ivana Lisette Ortiz, the 35-year-old woman who was booked and charged with attempted murder in connection with the shots that were fired at Rihanna's home in Beverly Hills. So her name, Rihanna's name, ASAP's name, they're all trending nationally, and on our site we have an article on fox29.com that details what's happened and some of the next steps that will be taken in this case. And lastly, as I spoke about last hour, the other top trending story we have is unfortunately that Pennsylvania state trooper who was killed, shot and killed during that traffic stop in Chester County. And we have a bunch of details on that as well on fox29.com.
And people are searching for that. And I think a lot of it, we talked about it a little bit earlier on the 4 o'clock news, people are searching for ways that they can help out. GoFundMe, donations, those types of things. And so I guess we'll continue. Jenny Joyce, our reporter earlier, said she would look into seeing if any of that exists. It's also new that they're trying to figure out how to best help.
Good. We do have a section on our articles called What Can You Do? And so something like that, a GoFundMe, that would be underneath that section. So once we know anything else about how you can help, we will definitely put that on our website and keep you guys informed.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Cam.
Thank you.
And guys, and you can get all that information at fox29.com. As you see every hour, Cam is there kind of monitoring what's going on with the web, writing articles, getting the articles up, doing additional research. Jake is in here with us in the control room and updating as well for all the things that we're talking about, additional stories, questions of the day, go vote, and what have you. Everything we can to be interactive and updating in real time. It is 9:16. It's getting a little bit later and still pretty nice out, all things considered. But it's going to start cooling off just a little bit over the next week or so. So, Kathy, we got what, 3-4 more days to just embrace it? What happened?
2 more days.
2 more days?
Were you worried
like
you didn't hear me talk?
It's like, what?
2 more days.
I just saw the fingers going up. I was like, wait, what?
What? 2.
That's it?
2 more days. That's it. So we had Sunday, we had today. Today was 75. Yesterday was 73. Tomorrow will probably be the peak of the warmth. And then, of course, Wednesday's a nice day. But after that, that's when temperatures get back to normal. But normal isn't bad, Bill. Take a look at Philadelphia, Independence Mall. If you stepped outside this evening, really nice. The temperature right now has fallen considerably, considering where we were. I mean, temperatures in the 50s right now, but we were quite warm earlier. Dense fog advisory from 2 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the morning for Philadelphia County, Delaware County, South Jersey, and Delaware. That means there is a chance of visibility could get down to a half mile or less, even a quarter mile, and we're already seeing that down the shore, especially in Ocean City and Wildwood Stone Harbor. Now, as you look at the visibilities, Atlantic City Airport down to 0.8 of a mile. That's 9 miles inland, so you can see that that fog is progressing inland, so that is a concern through South Jersey as well. And Wildwood, 1.3 mile visibility. Elsewhere looking good right now, but we are expected for that visibility to go downhill during the overnight. Overnight lows, 44 in Philadelphia, 42 in Millville, 41 in Doylestown to the north and west. Even in Allentown, we're at 39 degrees overnight, with the average for Philadelphia being 32. So this is pretty mild for an overnight period. As we continue to go through the day tomorrow, we start off in the 40s, we end up well in the 70s. So that's a 30-degree climb in temperature from the morning to the afternoon. Very impressive. Some spots making it to 80 degrees tomorrow. And then when we go through Wednesday, the record for Wednesday is 74 degrees. That's the Philadelphia record set in 2021. And we're going to most likely beat it. Many areas across the Delaware Valley will be breaking records Wednesday. After that, a cold front comes through, and that's when temperatures change. So yes, Bill, just 2 more days of warm temperatures. Rain chances Wednesday night and Thursday morning. I was just looking at the weather map, the update for this. I have 70% Wednesday night, because it's going to come in during the evening, overnight, and into Thursday morning. Thursday, it's going to get windy. Temperatures are going to fall from the 50s to the 40s during the afternoon. So this is how it's going to play out. We have that fog through South Jersey, Delaware, possibly coming up to that I-95 corridor late tonight. You can see it looks like clouds, but that's actually fog invading from the south and east. Then we go through the day tomorrow. The sky is clear, that fog burns off, and it's a nice day. Tuesday is very nice. And then as we get into Tuesday night, into Wednesday, we start to see that front over Detroit. A lot of heavy rain. That's Wednesday morning, and that begins to move our way. So it's really by Wednesday night and Thursday morning that we see those showers. Some heavy, even a rumble of thunder is possible into Thursday morning. So as we look at the 7-day forecast, you can see next 2 days, great. 80 degrees, 78 degrees, looking very good. Wednesday, some morning fog as well. And that should lead to mostly sunny skies, and that would be our record-breaking day. Thursday, morning showers, early highs around 58, 60 degrees. Temperatures falling into the 40s, yeah, not 20s, 40s in the afternoon. And then Friday, we're back to normal at 50. Saturday, 56, a nice day. And then the clouds roll in Sunday. Sunday, also, the Philadelphia St. Patrick's Day Parade, which we will be streaming on Fox Local. Of course, myself, Bob Kelly, and Drew Anderson will have you there live from 11:30 to 2 p.m. And then on Monday, here we go, showers and cool. So then another front comes through that instigates those showers on Monday. So for our St. Patrick's Day, a week from tomorrow, high temperatures are only in the 30s, 36 the high. Lows in the 20s, like this is shocking. And then Wednesday 38, and then by next Thursday we'll be back in the 40s. So anything goes in the month of March. That's why we always say March comes in like a lion, because it's usually windy, it's rainy. I'm just grateful that we haven't had the wind, because Bill, it is typically a very windy month with very gusty winds. And we saw that through much of the fall and into the winter. So it's good not to experience that. Rain, cold, wind, we don't want any of that.
Listen, I will take this forecast. You said 2 days of great, and then a week from now, it's only 2 days of cold.
Exactly.
Yeah? So
and
we can go ahead and get through that.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the thing. We always say if it snows in March, it's gone like that. And it's looking obviously less likely as we get deeper into the month that will happen.
Yeah, I didn't say I was okay with snow.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I don't think there's going to be anything big, if there were to be anything at all. And I don't see anything yet.
Sounds good. Kathy, thank you very much. We will see more updates on the news at 10 on Fox 29. Thank you very much. And Fox Local. All right, let's take a quick break. Cam mentioned on her trending topics and updates the situation that happened outside of Rihanna's house. I got a chance to talk to the people from TMZ with all of the details and information. And after this break, we'll come back and share that with you. It's Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. You can watch here, Fox Local, all streaming platforms. We're in the chat room. You can follow us on social media. I'm at Bill A. Fox 29. We love interacting with you and sharing information, so stay tuned. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. So as I was pointing out a little bit earlier today, I got a chance to talk to the people from TMZ looking into what happened outside of Rihanna's house, where someone showed up allegedly with an AR-15 and started firing into her home. She was at home at the time. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but here's what TMZ had to say. It's actually a really scary story that happened at the home of star Rihanna. And so we asked TMZ. Obviously, TMZ gets those stories, gets the updates and all the information. Anakin is up next. We rocking the soccer jersey. We've been talking about FIFA and World Cup for quite some time.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Thanks for jumping
ready.
on.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Absolutely. I appreciate it. So catch us up. What's going on with this story with Rihanna's house?
Yeah, so as you said, Bill, this is really scary stuff. On Sunday afternoon, Rihanna's house was shot at by a woman who's driving a white Tesla. We've identified her as a woman named Ivana Lisette Ortiz. She's a 35-year-old woman. It's odd. We were able to get some looks into her social media platform, and her posts have been kind of cryptic. It's an odd sort of look for her because she hasn't gone after just Rihanna before. She's gone after Cardi B in these cryptic posts that are threatening, very aggressive, and apparently, I guess she decided to start actually acting on her words and went after Rihanna in her own home. It's reported that 10 shots were fired at Rihanna. Rihanna was in the house when this happened, along with her children. A$AP Rocky was not present, however, during the attack. But yeah, just really scary stuff.
I'm hearing reports, I don't know if you can confirm, that the weapon AR-15, another one of those types of weapons that we see from time to time in these types of attacks?
Yeah, AR-15, that's correct. We don't know exactly how she got her hands on one. We don't know if she had one before, if she had one just for this incident in particular. Like I said, what we do know is that she fired at the house 10 times, I believe, from her vehicle to the house. So she didn't actually enter the house and start shooting. The motive is still unknown, which is unfortunate, as a lot of times with these very crazy incidents, you like to have at least a reason as to why so you can start to rationalize it. I'm sure Rihanna would love to know what the reason was, however crazy it may have been. This is not something that's super exclusive to someone who's like Rihanna. This happens to celebrities all the time. It goes to threat management over here in Los Angeles. I'm sure that's the case around the country. But yes, we do know that it was an AR-15, and we do know that the intent was to kill. At least that's the way the law enforcement treated it. That's the way it's being handled with Ivana now in jail. She's being charged for attempted murder, which is a serious, serious charge, and she's got a bail of $10 million+.
Wow. And as we continue, and I'm sure as you guys get more information, we certainly will reach out if you share it with us. But based on what you were just saying before, nothing yet that indicates that there was any specific or serious conflict with Rihanna. There were several messages about multiple celebrities, but this does not seem to be one of those cases where Rihanna was an ongoing target.
It's unclear. This person had, as we said, we looked into her social media, and she has posted videos specifically attacking Rihanna. This isn't like anything specific outside of, normal hate that you would see from people who just don't like a celebrity or maybe are a crazy fan or something like that. There's no indication that this was a persistent attack on Rihanna. It's just a very unfortunate circumstance that it seems it sort of turned into an attempt of murder. For lack of a better term, that is kind of what it was. But no, there's no added information on what that motive actually was.
Anakin, thank you very much. And as you guys get more information, we'll reach out to you, and hopefully you can keep us informed. We appreciate you always. So a couple of people in the chat are asking questions about what just happened there. Yes, Rihanna was at home at the time that this happened. Apparently 10 shots were fired into her home. Thankfully, nobody was hit. The person who allegedly fired the shots was arrested. and now the investigation continues. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. We'll take a quick break and then we'll be right back. Stay tuned. It's 9:30 here on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. This is Philadelphia Live, here with you until 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, the information continues with the Fox 29 News at 10 or somewhere thereabouts. The World Baseball Classic is currently going on, but we've got live up to the second information for you nearly 24 hours a day. So download the Fox Local app and stay tuned to all our streaming platforms. Marcus, I just mentioned the World Baseball Classic, and like the last couple games, it seems like they coast, and boom. And that's what just happened.
Yeah, I mean, in the third inning, Aaron Judge had an amazing defensive play where he was able to throw out a runner going to third, and then on the other side, he then sparked the offense with a 2-run home run to put the Americans up 2-0. And then later in that same inning, Roman Anthony, he actually hit a 3-run home run. So right now it is currently USA up 5-0 in the bottom of the fourth. Bryce Harper, he is 1 for 3. He did score in a run, which during the Aaron Judge home run. Kyle Schwarber, he is 1 for 1 with a walk, and he also earned a run as well during the 3-run home run. And then Paul Skeens also has been amazing as well for Team USA. He's pitched 4 innings, struck out 7 batters, and only allowed a walk. So both offensively and defensively, U.S. has been dominant so far this game.
Yeah, I mean, it is a powerful team.
Yes.
Like there's no weakness. And how do you pitch around anybody when you've got guys who hit 60 home runs, you know, all in a row, 50, 50, 50? Like, what do you do?
Honestly, their enemy is themselves. Like, their worst enemy is themselves, as I mean to say. It's because earlier in this game, there was a situation where they had 1 out and a runner on first, and after a hit, the runner tried to score all the way from first and stutter stepped and ended up getting tagged out at the plate earlier in the game. And Scott Grayson and I were talking about how if you know the type of power you have in your offense, why are you taking risks and rounding third to score when you can easily, especially with 1 out, trust in your offense to, at the very least, get you a sac fly, which ended up happening where the 3rd out was a pop out deep to center, where if the runner was disciplined enough, that would have been a sac fly. So again, their worst enemy is themselves in just terms of just basic discipline. But there was literally their only mistake this game, and so it's been pretty it hasn't been perfect, obviously, but it's been good. But yeah, they just have to be more disciplined, and otherwise they should be fine.
Yeah, they don't have to play small ball. You don't have
No.
to manufacture individual runs with this team. Sixers took the L, no huge surprise, and
Nope.
James Harden shined a little bit.
Yeah, he had 21 points. This is how bad the game was. 21 points was actually the highest point total out of both teams. Like, that was the leading score, was 21 points from James Harden. I mean, Quentin Grimes only had 17. That was the leading scorer for the Sixers. So, I mean, we expected a loss. It was a loss. I mean, Flyers also, they're losing 6-2 against the Rangers in the third period. So just not the best when it comes to our Philly sports teams going on tonight. Kyle Schwarber is actually at the plate right now. I saw him, so that was what threw me off. But yeah, Sixers lose. Flyers are losing. But also, there is still some good news. I mean, Jesus Luzardo from the Phillies, speaking of baseball, he reportedly agreed to a 5-year extension worth $135 million. So he's going to be a Philly for a while. Plus, he's going to get paid. So not just all bad news, Bill, I promise. There is some good news in the area.
That's really good news for him. I mean,
135 million reasons why it's good. Yeah.
I know, right? Good for him. Okay.
Yeah,
all right, we will continue to track this as we go, Marcus. After today with the Eagles, do you go in tomorrow still with trust the faith, keep believing in Howie heading into tomorrow?
Absolutely. These are just pieces that he's got to, make some choices on. My judgment is the draft when it comes to him. That's when I trust him the most. In terms of certain pieces, he's just freeing up money to make other big decisions. So he knows what he's doing. I mean, he helped lead the team to 2 Super Bowl rings, 3 Super Bowl appearances. So he knows what he's doing.
He has earned the benefit of the doubt. Marcus, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And we will see more, guys, a little bit later on in sports. So stay with us, Fox 29, Fox Local, and all streaming platforms. So we were speaking earlier about this interesting case. I believe the chopper was headed back out there, guys, and I think that we have that shot if we can pull it back up. So our chopper, that is over that storage facility that we were talking about earlier. There is the situation that happened in New York where 2 students from our area allegedly were involved in what's being called a terror plot. There was a protest going on in New York, an anti-Muslim protest organized by an influencer and agitator. They were there, but apparently they are accused of and have been arrested for throwing some sort of a bomb explosion device that did not detonate, thankfully, but they have been charged for that. And so a little bit earlier today, the FBI and local authorities went to that storage facility that we were just talking about, and they have been there searching it ever since. So that was just a shot from our chopper, but authorities are there, the FBI is there. We're not sure exactly what they are searching for, but they do say that there is some sort of indication that there may be a connection between that storage facility and some evidence in that case from New York. And speaking of that case, for everybody, and people in the chat have been saying it, we've been hearing it throughout the day, people have been asking for more information about what specifically happened. So a little while earlier, authorities gave that update on that situation in New York, and here's what they had to say.
Earlier today, I provided an update on the investigation into explosive devices that were ignited and deployed on Saturday during protests outside of Gracie Mansion. We can now share that federal charges have been filed in the Southern District of New York against 2 individuals, Amir Balat and Ibrahim Kayumi, in connection with that attack. The defendants are charged with attempting to provide material support to ISIS, using a weapon of mass destruction, transporting explosive materials, interstate transportation and receipt of explosive materials, and unlawful possession of destructive devices. The complaint sets forth the factual allegations supporting those charges. As alleged in the complaint, the defendants were inspired by ISIS to carry out their attack. There should be no confusion about what ISIS constitutes. It is a designated foreign terrorist organization responsible for deadly terrorist attacks across the globe and has taken credit for mass casualty attacks in Europe, the Middle East, and right here in the United States. And as alleged, both defendants have admitted that they acted on Saturday because of ISIS. As Qayyumi was being placed into an NYPD vehicle following his arrest, a person in the crowd asked why he had done this. As shown on NYPD body-worn camera footage referenced in the complaint, Qayyumi responded with ISIS. And at the precinct, after being advised of his Miranda rights and waiving those rights, Qayyumi said in recorded post-arrest statements that he had watched ISIS propaganda on his phone and that his actions that day were partly inspired by ISIS. The complaint also details statements made by Amir Balat after his arrest. En route to the NYPD precinct, Balat made spontaneous statements without being questioned by NYPD officers that were captured on body-worn camera footage. He said, "This isn't a religion that just stands when people talk about the blessed name of the prophet. We take action, as well as, if I didn't do it, someone else will come and do it." And later, after waiving his rights, he requested paper and wrote a message declaring in part, "I pledge my allegiance to the Islamic State. Die in your rage, you kuffar." Now, die in your rage is a commonly known ISIS slogan, and kuffar is an Arabic term that refers to non-believers. He also told investigators that he had hoped to carry out an attack even bigger than the Boston Marathon bombing, which he noted resulted in only 3 deaths. These statements, as set forth in the complaint, make clear that this was not random violence. This was a planned attack motivated by extremist ideology and inspired by a violent foreign terrorist organization. The complaint alleges not only why the defendants acted, but how. Preliminary testing has determined that one of the devices contained triacetone triperoxide, or TATP, also commonly referred to as Mother of Satan, a highly volatile explosive that has been used in multiple terrorist attacks over the last decade. As we have previously discussed, the NYPD identified a vehicle yesterday on East End Avenue that was linked to the defendants. Inside that vehicle, investigators recovered handwritten notes referencing TATP explosive and listing chemical ingredients for the type of explosive device used by the defendants on Saturday. Make no mistake, what happened this weekend was incredibly dangerous, and the ongoing investigation will be exhaustive. From the first moments of that investigation, the NYPD has been working seamlessly with our federal partners, many of whom have joined us here. In particular, the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force, which includes NYPD detectives, working alongside federal agents. They have been at the center of this investigation. Members of the FBI and the Joint Terrorism Task Force, including NYPD task force officers, have executed search warrants at Qayyumi and Balat's residences in Pennsylvania. Another important note, the 2 defendants arrived in New York City roughly 1 hour before they were arrested. According to our investigation, they crossed the George Washington Bridge with a license plate reader ping at 11:36 a.m. on Saturday, parked in front of 48 East End Avenue between 81st and 82nd Streets at 12:05 p.m., and walked to the protest. They ignited and threw the devices at approximately 12:15 p.m. and were immediately arrested thereafter. I want to thank our great United States Attorney Jay Clayton for his extraordinary partnership, as well as the prosecutors from SDNY for everything that they do, especially for their work on this investigation and their forthcoming prosecution. I also want to thank the FBI, especially James Barnacle, Assistant Director in charge of the FBI New York Field Office, and Rob Cassane, the FBI's Special Agent in charge for counterterrorism, as well as the Joint Terrorism Task Force. We are grateful always for the FBI agents and assistant U.S. attorneys who have been working around the clock with us since Saturday. Finally, and most importantly, I want to recognize the members of the NYPD who responded on Saturday and in the hours that followed. The officers assigned to that protest who ran toward a lit, improvised, explosive device, the bomb squad technicians who secured and analyzed the devices, the detectives and analysts who worked through the night to develop this investigation, and the countless members of service who helped ensure the security of the people of New York City during a very tense and dangerous situation. The NYPD remains on heightened alert, and our mission is simple, and that is to keep New Yorkers safe. That responsibility belongs to the nearly 35,000 members of this department who stand watch over this city and who are prepared to respond whenever and wherever danger appears. On Saturday, we saw that commitment in action. Thank you. Now I will turn it over to our United States Attorney, Jay Clayton.
Thank you, Commissioner Tisch. I'm very proud to be here today with Commissioner Tisch and Director Barnacle representing this joint effort to keep our city safe. And I'm going to pick up where the Commissioner left off. I watched the video of New York Police Department officers running to the danger, knowing that these might be explosive devices, knowing that they might explode. That is the kind of commitment that makes this city great. Thank you. Thank all your officers. It's tremendous. It makes me so proud as a New Yorker. As Commissioner Tisch noted, we charged 2 individuals today, Balat and Kayumi. They are charged federally with 5 counts: attempted provision of material support and resources to a designated foreign terrorist organization, use of a weapon of mass destruction, transportation of explosive materials, interstate transportation and receipt of explosives, and unlawful possession of destructive devices. The facts alleged in the complaint are just that, allegations. In our great system of justice, they must be proven, and the defendants have the presumption of innocence. Commissioner Tisch did an exceptional job outlining the facts alleged in the complaint. These were ISIS-inspired actions. And it is chilling that they wanted to do something more than the Boston Marathon, more than 3 deaths. Free speech and peaceable assembly are the bedrock of American democracy. But violence is not protected. And it's not protected protest. It's not protected speech. In New York, violence, particularly violence that has a terrorist bent, violence that is meant to chill free speech, violence that is meant to keep us from assembling peaceably, will be met with swift justice. This investigation remains ongoing, and we encourage anyone with further information to contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI, C-A-L-L-FBI. In closing, I want to express my deep gratitude for, again, the NYPD and all of those folks in my office who immediately answered the call and worked around the clock. In particular, the heads of our National Security and International Narcotics Unit, Eleanor Tarlow and Jason Richmond, and our line U.S. attorneys, who I don't think have slept, which is why we are here so quickly, Jonathan Bodonsky and Jane Chong. Thank you all very much. I'll now turn it over to Director Barnacle.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Clayton. My name is James Barnacle. I'm the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's New York Field Office. Today, alongside our partners in New York City Police Department and the Southern District of New York, our office has announced federal terrorism charges against Amir Balat and Ibrahim Kayumi. On Saturday, March 7th, these 2 individuals allegedly threw one suspicious device and attempted to throw another during a protest outside Gracie Mansion. As the Commissioner noted, if it weren't for the bravery of 2 New York's finest, we could have had a much more tragic incident. Yesterday, on Sunday, March 8th, a 3rd device was recovered from a vehicle on East End Avenue. Upon careful analysis by NYPD bomb techs and FBI special agent bomb technicians, it was determined that these items were improvised explosive devices, IEDs, designed to inflict serious injury and death to those in the vicinity of the intended blast zone. Both subjects have stated they were inspired by ISIS, a designated terrorist organization, to conduct this attack. Balat and Qayoumi sought to incite fear and mass suffering through this alleged attempted terror attack in the backyard of an elected city official. This weekend was just another example of the elevated threat environment we're currently living in. Let me be clear. The FBI will not tolerate those who use violence against targets in New York City to broadcast their terroristic ideologies. This would not have been possible. The outcome we're talking about today would not have been possible without the FBI's New York Joint Terrorism Task Force, led by Special Agent in Charge Rob Kassain, our Special Agent Bob technicians, as well as our partners at the NYPD and the Southern District of New York. I would like to thank Commissioner Jessica Tisch for your department's unwavering partnership, and especially for the bravery of your officers who ran towards danger to protect this city and our residents. Thank you, U.S. Attorney Clayton, for your team's determination to bring weighty criminal charges against these defendants and hold them accountable for the reprehensible actions from this past weekend. Additionally, I'd like to extend my appreciation to the Customs and Border Protection, the Port Authority Police Department, the New York State Police, Homeland Security Investigations, as well as the FBI divisions in Newark, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Those offices assisted us throughout the weekend. The collective efforts across all these agencies, including those who could not join us today, thwarted a potentially devastating day in this city. Rest assured, the FBI and the New York City Police Department remain at the ready to defend the homeland against anyone seeking to harm our community. We're continuing to chase down all leads and tips in this ongoing investigation. As U.S. Attorney mentioned, anyone that has tips out there, we encourage you to call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI, or you can submit your tips online at fbi.gov. Thank you.
And so that was the press conference earlier, updating on what's going on with this case, suspected terror attack or what have you. That was then. This actual shot right now is from our chopper. This is live. So this is out near that storage facility that we've been talking about throughout the evening. The FBI and local authorities have been together searching this area. We don't know for what, but we have been led to believe that they believe there is some connection perhaps between the suspects and this particular area. You can see obviously large numbers of people who are there. They have now seemingly kind of circled in on a specific area as they continue to search. This is one of our chopper shots. This is a storage facility in our area, and apparently they are looking for more information related to the suspects in that case in New York that we were just listening to the press conference about. Going to take a break and we'll be right back. It's Philadelphia Live on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. Stay with us. this heated town hall meeting that has been happening in East Whiteland, they're talking about a data center that is proposed. The plan was approved, but then it changed from a 1 million square foot facility to a 1.6 million square foot facility. They have continued to argue, discuss, debate about electric and data drain and impact on the environment and what have you. We are now into what? Hour 3, 2, almost 3 of them discussing and debating this, community testifying. Let's get back to it. It has been heated for hours.
More stringent than what the zoning board allowed. If you look at all the other conditions that the zoning board attached, this plan and the approved plan meet those conditions.
Which we are aware.
And that's what your consultants reviewed, and they reviewed the
Yes.
ordinance.
And we are aware of that. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry, our solicitor can't hear what you're saying, so she couldn't address it.
Point out, we have to be out of here at 10.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so I think we have to just ask, is there somebody who wants to make a recommendation? You would?
I would like to recommend that the Board of Supervisors should revisit the zoning plan decision for the data center land use under the initial request, that it be aligned to the current usage of a data center. So the variance or special use, special exception is revisited under that INSCC-RC. That would be my recommendation.
I think the motion needs to include a recommended action on
I'm
the...
sorry, I can't hear you, Zach.
Sorry,
What?
yeah. Just to maybe clarify a little bit on process, I think the motion that you'd be carrying forward to the board would need to include a recommended action on the land development itself. That could accompany a recommendation for approval, denial, but that can be carried forward, but there has to be a recommendation.
That can be a
with respect to
condition
action
of the
on land
recommendation.
development.
Let me ask you a question. Yeah. Zach, we don't have to recommend whether we like the project or not, or whether we encourage the supervisors. This is my opinion, somebody can pipe in, to approve it or not. I think it's time that it moves on to the supervisors, because this show is going to go on to the supervisors next, the same type of talk. What's going on here now with the public is it's getting vetted out publicly. We got a stenographer here, a great record, it's on television. I think it's time that it gets out of our hands, because there are a lot of topics here, the safety and health, great questions, but many of those things are out of our purview, right? It's very difficult. We rely on our consultants.
Jeff.
We rely on, I'm going to finish what I'm saying. We rely on what the law is and what's been reviewed. So
I feel kind of like the commissioner who was sitting there on that panel saying, listen, we got to be out of here by 10 o'clock. So we actually are wrapping up as well. They are wrapping up. We will continue to give you the updates on what the final decision is. It sounds like they are going to push it forward to the next series of hearings where we will be there for you as well. So thank you everyone for spending some time with us the last couple hours. Don't go anywhere, because Fox Local, the Fox 29 News, all of that continues.
Can we